no, one pathway in, no, one pathway out, 5 pathways in. Is that correct, Lynette?
I actually don't know that figure.
Okay.
Do you know that figure?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think there's quite a few pathways in and quite a few pathways out.
Oh, okay, well, I've been proven wrong. You guys are the experts.
You've been Googling, haven't you?
I have not. I heard it at a conference somewhere. So tonight, if you've got any questions, please feel free to shoot those on. And it's great to see you, Stephen Wise. You were a little bit early, but it's okay. You haven't peaked too soon, and that's something we'll be talking about later on tonight. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And we are focusing tonight on both your liver health, and later on in the session, we will be talking about the menopause. So it is a big night ahead, isn't it? Now, do you want lots of questions?
Yes.
Definitely.
Excellent. So you guys know what to do. Send them on in, regardless of where you're watching from. I've got all the streams on my computer here so I can see. And hello to everybody watching tonight on Periscope as well. Lovely to have you on board. Shoot your questions through. So let's talk, first of all, the role of the liver in our hormones. I didn't realise this was a big deal. So first of all, let's talk about hormone health through the different ages. You know, you've got, you know, we're born, we hit puberty. Even before that, as you were talking about last week, they hit that hormonal change around, what, 4 or 5 years old?
About 4 years old, you see, particularly in boys, quite a change with their emotions and their aggression and their energy levels and their inability to sort of follow basic instructions. They become kind of wild animals. And have you noticed that with your boys?
Yes, most definitely. They kind of become almost like a 2-year-old again for a little while.
They regress. Yeah, so that's a big time. And sometimes around 7, you'll get another wee hit of that. Yeah.
And so that's testosterone kicking into play, is it right?
It's usually a boys thing. It's about their big growth. Girls do more of their big growth through puberty, and it's all about estrogen, and it's moody growth and pain as their breasts are growing, and you know their ovaries are developing.
Right.
Everything's starting to happen. So that's their growth, and it's estrogen that fuels that. Okay. And then the next stage is about, you know, the estrogen and the progesterone and the testosterone all kind of reaching the right levels.
It's a bit of a volatile cocktail going on, really, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
And it's pretty much all about fertility and making babies into that adult years, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right, so
we're just being groomed for it.
We are. So we're going from puberty to the childbearing age, and then of course, you know, people are finding something kind of happens where they go to perhaps try and have children, and all of a sudden they can't. And that's really where my understanding is the liver is actually potentially in the way of making that happen, or could be one of the factors. Mike, can you speak more into that?
Yeah, so one of the pretty common presentations we see in clinic are people around early 30s, I would say, and really lovely couples, and they might have come back from overseas. They've been partying it up for 10 years, and they've come back to New Zealand to make a family, and they've stopped contraception, and you know they're feeling pretty terrible because they're essentially thrown themselves into a detox type state,
right,
and not dealing with it very well. So they're feeling nauseous, they're exhausted, their skin's breaking out, and they've been trying to have kids for a few months but been unsuccessful.
Right.
So that's when they come into us, and we kind of have to have the big chat.
Of course.
And say it's maybe going to be a few more months or up to a year, and you've got to get clean and got to get your liver sorted before we can start trying to have babies.
So ideally, before people get to that stage where they go, right, I'm a baby factory now, it's time to get this party started, you really want them to come to see you first, right, to prepare the foundation. Yeah.
But it's not just the women, it's the men as well, because you know that often that heavy alcohol drinking and that lifestyle and high carbs and low veggies, you know, they've actually done a lot of damage, and we need some good antioxidants in there. And we go even further into, we see a lot of couples who are going through IVF, and that's really hard because until you actually do that liver work and clean, both of you clean yourselves up, do it together, you know, do it for his wellness and her wellness. And really until you do that and you get your liver functioning well, it's going to be so much more dangerous for that baby.
Right.
So it's about making it as
safe as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone through that, and so the liver is really at every stage of this development. So what about post-birth, and heading into menopause? Let's talk about that, Lynette. That's been a big topic of ours for the last few months, a few weeks, sorry, I should say.
It's been a big topic of mine for 10 years.
Oh, right. So you speak from experience.
I do. So there's such a long space usually between children and all of the hormonal changes you have and as you're getting older, but eventually we sort of get to hormone and things start to stop. So estrogen suddenly stops, or our hormones get out of whack, or we might start finding that we get hot flushes. So that's a really big indication for a woman, that her hormones are changing, periods are changing, she's not throwing the rubbish out anymore every month. So things start to change. We start to see some livery issues, and with men, so we call it menopause and we laugh and everything, but
but it's real.
Yeah, they might be getting breasts and
what are the symptoms? And we are going to delve into this a little bit more. So if you've got men in your household, you need to get them to watch tonight, because it is a real big focus on men. Very quickly, Mike, the early symptoms of the menopause.
So what people usually tell me is the lack of energy, they've put on a bit of weight, maybe struggling with exercise. Those are kind of the real early signs. But it's really different to female menopause, because instead of being this kind of sudden-ish event, it's just slow and creeping, and then all of a sudden the symptoms just start to become noticeable. But the actual drop in testosterone is just a natural, slow, progressive drop over time.
That is very interesting. That's quite different for women, because it's almost like a lot of my friends, my female friends, are going, whoa, woke up this morning with menopause. Yeah. And they know. It's quite an amazing difference.
Well, women, we were saying before, tend to pack their symptoms on the outside, so it becomes quite obvious, and you're flushing and you're putting on weight and your breasts are changing, it's your stomach starts sticking out and all those fun things that happen to women, whereas men pack it all on the inside. And emotionally, I think men tend to pack it on the inside and not show it. So often the first sign is that the blood pressure's gone up, there's ringing in the ears, there's headaches, there's, what were you saying, nausea in the morning with men is quite common.
Yeah, so that inability to eat breakfast, they might just be living on a cup of tea and maybe a piece of toast before they go off to the office to try and work for 4 to 6 hours before lunch. And then they're having this big fried greasy lunch to compensate because they're so hungry.
Yeah. Now, if any of this is resonating with you, please feel free to share your comments in the news feeds, regardless of if you're watching on South Pacific College of Natural Medicine, My Remedy, Lynette Hill Naturopath, or the YourFixTV page. We love you being part of the show, and we're here to help. So if you want some help, or if anything's resonating with you, please let us know. Carly Coolidge said, crap, I keep losing my signal. I hope you keep this in your archives. Well, that's a great thing about these shows, is they will stay on the timeline of whatever page you're watching on. I think tonight you're there watching from America, actually, on the YourFixTV page. And all of the episodes will also be loaded up into the YourFixTV website and onto the website of myremedy.co.nz. So you can watch them there on demand as well. But do keep those questions coming through. Hello, Jane Wan. Hello, Elizabeth York. Katie English, good to see you. Maria, lovely to see you as well. Keep your questions coming through. And like I said earlier, if you've got a man in your house, get them to watch, because we are dealing with the menopause tonight. It is all about hormones. This is episode 11. Check that out. We've been running for 3 months now, Lynette, and it is amazing to see that our group has been growing and that more questions are coming through every week. So one of the things I wanted to ask you both about is, you've put all of these things on the table out of my cupboard, and I want to know what effects these things on the table here actually have on our liver and on our hormones as well. So you've got some of my favorite foods. We've got eggs, we've got basil, avocado, tomatoes. Some of the other things I'm a little bit stumped with. So can you guys talk me through why you've put these on the table, considering we are talking about liver and we're talking about hormones? What do these have to do with all of this?
Well, believe it or not, we're not going to do a cooking demonstration or a recipe.
Okay.
Well, you're so good at that.
Oh, so thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Do any of that. But
it is a favourite of mine.
What we actually wanted to talk about was the packaging materials, because these are sources of what we call xenoestrogens in our diet. And these are compounds that are fairly toxic to the body. in that they act almost like estrogen, and they mess with our estrogen receptors. So they really cause lots of problems, and the liver is the one that has to deal with them, really.
Wow.
Because we can't actually stop this. This is the world we live in, and we don't get our veggies in a basket and a paper bag anymore.
Right.
So one of the things that we try and do for the world and for our body is have less plastics. But the reality is you can store in glass. That's an option.
Yes.
But it's getting more difficult. So, some of these foods are unavoidable, and some of these packaging is unavoidable. So then it's about having your green veggies and your antioxidants and your water and your lemon and your herbs and spices and the other things that you can do, because your liver should be able to process a lot of toxins, but we don't want to overload it.
Well, on that point, actually, Carly Coolidge has just said best daily health habit for a healthy liver aside from not drinking. Great question, Carly. What are your thoughts?
My one would be ensure that you're eating enough protein in the day. So,
That's a goodie.
all of the liver's detoxification pathways need protein essentially to work. So aside from all the other really cool stuff we talk about with the herbs and specialized supplements based on broccoli sprouts and things, but if you don't have protein, then it's going to be really limited. Yeah.
I did not know that. That is incredible. Lynette, what are your thoughts?
Water.
Yeah.
Big fan of water. If you can, start your day with some water and lemon and actually get things going and flowing, and you can, wash things through, you're really giving your liver and kidneys a lot of support. Water's good for everything.
Oh, that's good to know. Now, very interesting comment from Katie English, who's just said, can you store in Tupperware?
We have to be so careful about brands, but any plastic has its risk, and storage is not such an issue if it's cold and everything goes in cold and it stays cold, and then you take it out and you heat it on crockery or glass, and I prefer in the oven or on the stovetop.
Rather than microwave.
Yeah, that is the better way of doing it. But the big problem comes when you are grabbing something in your bowl and it's got some cling film, I have to call it that, over the top, and you nuke it, and you've seen the plastic, it's all melted.
Yes,
Where do you
I have.
think that's gone?
Yeah.
So heating in plastic, or a lot of people grab their bottle of water first time, not such a problem, wash it out in hot water, and just the nature of BPA is that it leaches into your water.
Wow.
Once it gets into our body, it's still that leaching chemical, and it leaches and it gets into our organs.
So those chemicals are interfering with your liver, they're interfering with your hormones, they're basically hormone disruptors. Is that what you would say, Mike?
Yeah, exactly. So in men, we would really look at that as a source for men who are getting man boobs, or, having that menopause, feeling a bit emotional, teary-eyed later in life. Yeah, we really need to look at those sources of the xenoestrogens in the diet.
Yes.
And we see evidence of fatty liver, and people say, but I hardly drink, and this is just as toxic as alcohol. Possibly more so, because
that's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because our body, it's good at detoxifying, but there's only so much it can do, and it's not set up for xenoestrogens. It's set up for food and even alcohol to a large degree, because it's something it can recognize. But this is brand new, and this is plastic, and I don't think we have. We've got amylase and lipase and protease, but we don't have plasticase in our pancreas. So it's our liver just goes, I'll take that, I'll chuck it on these fat cells, and we'll deal with it one day.
So we're becoming more plastic as we get older.
We are.
Yeah,
Plastic
the world
surgery
is full of it, and unfortunately, so the unintended consequences of the age of plastic, which is an amazing substance and super convenient. But now we know it's
not good
all
for
through
us.
the oceans, all through sea life. And
Okay, so there you go, team. You've heard from the experts. Katie English just said no microwave in my kitchen. Yay. Well done.
Cool.
Well done. Even working with Master Chef Ray McVinney, he only ever uses it to defrost things if he needs to.
Yeah.
But most often he defrosts on the bench. It's just another thing in his kitchen. He said if you can do it as naturally as possible, that's the best way to deal with food.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Fantastic. So as always, if you've got more questions, you can put those in our group. We have a group on Facebook called the Health Bites group, which we would love you to join. And every week we talk about different things. You can ask the experts. So we have both Lynette and Mike in the group, plus other health experts who are there to answer your questions. And if you don't feel like sharing publicly in our news feeds on the different pages, that's the place to throw your questions. A lovely group of people in there. Always happy to chat. Mike, you often share some articles and things that are very interesting as well.
Yeah, I like to share the things that I find interesting, so hopefully it's helpful for people.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's really cool. Now, as always, we do have to share a disclaimer with you because this is the law, and that is we're not here to diagnose anything on this show. So if you do come through with a question saying, I have this unusual rash on a part of my body, we can't help you out there, but we can steer you in the right direction and share some information that may give you some options. As always, if you do have a problem, please seek the help from a healthcare professional, your doctor, perhaps your chiropractor, your osteopath, or of course a naturopath or medical herbalist, because that's what we're all about. Right, an exciting night ahead. Let's delve into the liver tonight. And I've been doing a bit of research, and this is a big topic. I didn't realize, I know we've been talking for the last 2 weeks about the importance of the hormones, right? And, you know, what they do in the body and how they're kind of like these traffic directors almost of everything that happens in your body. They're deal makers. They kind of have to work together, you know what I mean? To make everything process. But the liver, if your liver's not working properly, it's almost like this giant car crash inside your body. I hate to be so awful, but that's my understanding, speaking in layman's terms. When you're seeing people coming into clinic, let's talk about this. What are the first things you're seeing? What are the effects of the liver?
Okay, so, and Mike touched on it before, so often the first sign will be the skin. The skin is another major detox organ, so if the liver's, you know, full up, then it's like, you know, the those storage buildings that you see, and so the liver has got all these fat cells, so you fill all of them up, and then you suddenly notice that they've gone up a level, and so you know you're starting to fill up cells in different parts of your body, and then all of a sudden you start to see like, oh crikey, they need more, and they start spilling out onto the car park.
Right.
And that's like our skin going, well heck, you know, we're full in here, we've filled up the liver and we've filled up, you know, all the other tissues, so let's start pushing that out through the skin.
Wow.
And especially when the bowel's not working too, right? When it can't get rid of that stuff out of the bowel like it should do, then this resorts to the skin.
It's got to come out. It's got to come out. Your body is really clever. It's just protecting you, you know. So yeah, that's a big one, isn't it? Skin, headaches, particularly before a period or around menopause, or men start getting headaches. And they didn't always have headaches. So that's usually toxicity, and toxicity is often a sign of what's going on. Look, it can be other things too. So if there's been a whiplash, or, you know, there's been something, or stress where they're all like that all the time.
Any signs of magnesium deficiency, basically, right? Because the liver needs magnesium to detoxify, so it can...
I'm reading so much tonight, really.
Can cause magnesium deficiency, and then you get your twitches and your cramps. And
the cramp is the worst. I've had cramp for years. Is that a sign that perhaps my liver wasn't terribly happy?
Well, it's a sign that you need
not that you
magnesium.
can diagnose, but
So.
And it's really interesting. So fibromyalgia, one of the things that we use for that is, you know, specific magnesium. And fibromyalgia is, when you see it through the blood, it's acute phase protein, which is like little spikes, and they're made in the liver. So there's always this cross connection of what these conditions are. And, you know, we see like magnesium so good at washing tissues. So again, if your tissues are not happy and you're not clearing your toxins, of course your body's going to dump its magnesium. It gets the job done, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what about people like me who have had things like glandular fever? My understanding is that can really affect the liver. Can that affect the hormones as well, Mike?
Yeah, so the liver is that, you know, so integral in in converting hormones into active forms and detoxifying them. So anything that puts a load on the liver will just throw hormones out of whack, really. Yeah.
And it's interesting too, my understanding is that with all the pathways that can go into the liver, if the liver's pretty unhappy, then say the estrogen that goes into the liver, it can't actually go out the way it needs to be. It goes back into the bloodstream. Is that right, Lynette?
It doesn't get converted in the right way, and so often our body will throw those fats back out and out and out and out until they are actually digested in some shape or form.
Whoa.
But
that can't be good for us.
No, so those bad estrogens are the ones that we know now are cancer promoting, basically. So we want to be, it's really important to get that right and make sure that estrogen's going down the right pathway and being eliminated.
That is so good to know, because we want to look after ourselves, and that's what these shows are about.
We make enough estrogen not to store it.
Yeah, that's so true. Rochelle McDowell just said, we'll go and join the Health Whites group now. Thanks. You're welcome, Rochelle. Good to have you on board. Carly Coolidge, how many milligrams of magnesium?
Cool. Well, so the daily requirement for people is anywhere between 400 and 600, is that right? So what we would do, if you came to see us, we could give you a magnesium questionnaire, which would tell us how much in deficit you were, and we would choose. But yeah, people might get anywhere between 100 and 600, I would say, milligrams a day.
And it's magnesium is such a big topic. So a lot of people say, well, I take magnesium, and I just get diarrhea. So yeah, so this is again we've got our ladder which says what you can do yourself and what you can go and look for, but unfortunately with magnesium, it's not the magnesium that's the issue, it's what it's coated with. And so most of our minerals are given a coating which is like an envelope that you put the magnesium in, and you post it to different parts of the body for different things. So if you're getting an orotate, which is the most expensive form, that's posted to, say, your muscle or into your mitochondria to do something. Or if it's a 2-AEP, it's posted to the outside to seal it off so that you've got good charge. Or if it's oxide, which a lot of those cheaper magnesiums are, good value, you get like 2,000 capsules for $3. It's probably magnesium oxide, which posts it to the bowel, draws water behind it, and you get basically,
which is a great laxative.
So there is a bonus, but it may not be doing what you need it to do.
Yeah, so
that's really interesting.
If it's a big deal, get some good advice on it.
Awesome. That's really cool to hear. Thank you both. Carly, I hope that answers your question. Now, I just want to say hello to everybody watching on Periscope. I've seen there's been a bunch of people. I'm sorry if I haven't managed to answer your questions on there, because the questions come through quite quickly. You can, of course, get in contact with the team at My Remedy. In fact, if you do have any questions, we'd love you to get on board and ask the team directly. In fact, we've got a video coming up right now just to show you who are the people behind My Remedy and the level of care you can get. So everybody has a different role. There's a bunch of different practitioners working there, all with their own area of expertise. So let's take a look at that. And at the end is the contact details for My Remedy as well. So if you want to have your questions answered, you can hit them up via the website. Let's take a look.
Have you ever considered that symptoms are often the outward sign of something deeper and can just be the body's way of saying, help me? The great news is that even small changes from the inside out can affect your whole health outcome. So, are you ready to make positive changes? The team at My Remedy work with you to find solutions for optimal health and can help you with many health challenges. Their team of qualified and registered naturopaths are there to help with any health condition: gut health, skin conditions, adrenal fatigue and immune health, cardiovascular and men's health, and nutritional health. At My Remedy, they also have a registered homeopath and hypnotherapist who are there to help with the deepest challenges to your health, your beliefs, your fears, your habits and behaviours. So if you're ready to create better health for you and your family, try a different approach. Visit myremedy.co.nz or give them a call on 09486 2175. My Remedy. It's your remedy.
All right, well, very interesting. Unfortunately, we didn't get through all the practitioners there. We've just had a bit of the internet gods are not on our side tonight. I'm sorry about that. But if you want to find out more, you can actually head to the My Remedy website and you can find out more about the team. www.myremedy.co.nz will give you all the information you need, plus these amazing articles, contact details, and you can have a look at all the different team members and their areas of expertise, because each has a unique perspective on health and a real passion for the things they do. So your area of expertise is really around anxiety and the adrenal glands,
adrenal fatigue and the immune system. They're my absolute passion. Yeah.
And for Mike, your cardiovascular and men's issues, right?
So we'd love to see more men, so come on in.
We like that, definitely. Now, you do both do Skype consults as well, as much as you can, right? So how do people get on board with a Skype consult? What's best to do, Lynette?
Basically just phone the office and the details are there, or email us.
Yep.
It's really neat if we can see you face to face, because we can, look at your scan and do everything else and do a hemo view. But Skype's a really good alternative for people that just can't get to us. So just call us and we'll organise that.
And you do a bit of detective work at the same time while you listen to all those symptoms. And from those symptoms, you're able to put together a relatively clear sort of idea of what may be disrupted in their makeup. Is that right, Mike?
Correct, yeah. We always come from the standpoint that the case take, the set of symptoms and what's going on, what we can see, what you're feeling is about maybe 80 to 90% of what drives what we will decide to do with you. And then testing is that other 10, 20%.
Okay, very interesting.
And we can send people off, or you can bring in your blood test. So, people often have already discovered, which is often what gets men in the door, that they suddenly got high cholesterol. Well,
high blood pressure.
Yeah, they've been working on that since their 30s, but they've discovered it now.
Yeah.
So often people do have, cholesterol tests, and the other thing is a lot of men particularly might start a medication and suddenly just lose their get up and go just went,
yes.
And so that will bring people in, so they'll often have blood tests. So bringing blood tests is a good idea.
Excellent. So the more information you can get, the more you can piece it all together. It's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's totally incredible.
Bring us as many pieces as you can.
Now, speaking of pieces, Carly Coolidge just said, what about milk thistle? How does that work? Does that help with the hormones and the liver?
It helps with hormones indirectly, I would say, yeah. So it definitely helps with liver detoxification. So milk thistle increases the body's own endogenous antioxidant, which basically detoxifies the chemicals that the liver can sometimes turn chemicals more toxic in the process of detoxifying them. So it's a staged process in the liver. So milk thistle comes in kind of in the middle to help protect the liver from those really toxic stuff before it gets turned into a nice water-soluble thing that it can get rid of in the urine or the feces.
Wow, a big topic right there in its own. I mean, I think we need to do a whole episode on the different strategies you can use just to detoxify the liver.
We do months and months and months of training, through anatomy and pathophysiology, and then ongoing professional development on the pathways of detoxification and the enzymes involved and all of the phases. It's so, the gut and the liver are just totally huge.
Incredible.
For natural medicine.
Wow. So if you have just joined us, welcome to Health Bites. I'm Monique Bradley here in the YourFixTV studio. I've got Mike Ayres and Lynette Hill, both registered naturopaths and medical herbalists on the couch here. And we are talking about your hormones, and we're talking the effects or the role of the liver in really processing those hormones and perhaps getting rid of the ones we don't need. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah.
That's
okay,
good,
perfect.
Good way to put it, yeah.
Okay, so let's delve a little bit deeper into those effects and how that partnership works. Now, when I did my research and I looked at the key effects or the dance between the hormones and the liver, one of the first topics that came up was that the main functions of the liver is to maintain healthy levels of fats in the bloodstream. So we're talking really about cholesterol and the level of fat. Now, that's something you see when you're working on cardiovascular health and working with men in particular. Can you tell me about some of the symptoms people should be looking out for if things have gone wrong? Symptom-wise is a bit tricky. So high cholesterol is one of those kind of hidden signs.
So people cannot really, it doesn't feel like anything. So it is one of those things that can tick along. So you need to be doing your well-man checks and checking your cholesterol. And when they come in, we do see it on HemoView.
Oh,
you
right.
can see the levels of fat in the blood. But definitely, you know, that kind of abdominal thickening.
Paunch.
Yeah.
It's called a paunch, Mike.
Paunch.
Or the bare belly, the Homer Simpson.
So holding weight
gut.
in this area is
Right.
a good sign that some of that liver fat metabolism might be not quite right.
Is it the same for women as well? Because I'm talking to a lot of women who are really concerned about that kind of midsection where they are storing fat, Lynette.
It's part of it, but also there's a lot more fat for estrogenic waste, and so I think we have a few more toxins to get rid of and a few more things to store. So there's a few more issues around why a woman has belly fat, but for a man, theirs is often, you know, they haven't got the excuse like I have of like, oh, well, you know, that's from when, you know, it's just filling in for my babies. You know, they actually have got a firm, hard gut. It's not floppy and wobbly, is it?
No.
It's a completely different experience.
It's really quite obvious when a man is starting to...
And then it might progress from there to that, like we talked about before, the nausea in the morning, intolerance of fatty foods, some of those.
Wow.
things.
Rashes are a
And
big
the skin.
get the men in the door as
Wow.
well.
Well, okay, weight gain, some of the other things, heart disease, obviously, you know, are you seeing people just pre-heart attack and things like that? Is that the effects of perhaps a congested liver and some hormones gone crazy as well?
It
that
can
contribute?
be, yeah, that's kind of it's a long, slow moving process. So yeah, we might see people post when they've seen the doctor or they've had a wee event and they're on medication and now they've decided that they want to, oh, maybe I should look at my diet and see what I should be doing from
Wow.
a natural standpoint.
Wow. So if people are going to their doctor, their GP, and they're getting their blood tests and they don't really understand them, what are the key things they should be looking for in their blood tests, Lynette?
Well, there is a bit of a tendency with blood tests to look for the H's and the L's, which means the highs and the lows. And if you don't have an H or an L, you're fine, you don't have disease. So that means you're not going to get any medication. You might get some advice to make lifestyle changes, but what I really, really encourage you to do is actually take it to someone like a naturopath who's also trained to read blood results. We're not looking for disease. We're looking for, are you at risk? Are you heading it? Even though your cholesterol may be at 4.9, that's mighty close to what we consider to be going high. So, completely lost track there. But
No, that's all right. I'm with you. So look for the H's and the L's.
Yeah. So we're looking for more indication of risk than the actual disease.
Okay.
And we'd much rather people start doing dietary changes and simple supplementation like with fish oil, magnesium, before needing to go on a statin, because cholesterol is really tied to hormone health, because hormones are made from cholesterol.
Oh, wow. That's quite
And
mind-blowing.
fat is so important for energy. So if you're taking all of it away, suddenly you've got nothing left. And we do a lot of, particularly men, the symptom that they come in, they feel like they've got bricks in their legs. Their legs are so heavy, they've lost their energy and they've lost their kind of mojo with medication. So once that happens, it's really hard to turn around, because we can't take you off your medication.
No.
So it really is sort of from about 35. Actually, you know, people start going to the gym and they start making some changes, but it's a really good chance to go, hey, let's clean up from my 20s and, you know, get in control of my stress so that I can enjoy my family. Like you were saying, that's what you do a lot with your young patients, is get them dealing with their kids, enjoying their wife again and sleeping through the night, you know, and getting them healthy. It's really lovely.
Gotcha.
And then you know that they're going on to you know, through the next years, less likely to have heart attacks, high cholesterol, you know, and those issues.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got to get those basics right first.
Okay, this is mind-blowing for me. I've learned so much tonight. We're going to move into digestive problems. So some of the symptoms that I researched, thanks to Dr. Google, was that when perhaps the liver's not happy, you're seeing perhaps bloating of the abdomen, constipation, inability to digest fatty foods, loss of appetite. What's going on, Mike?
So that a few of those at least can be when the bile stops flowing. So we don't like bile; doesn't even sound like a very nice word.
not
But
pretty,
as
let's be
herbalists,
fair.
we love bile.
bile.
So just getting the bile being made in bigger quantities in the liver and getting out into the intestine is really one of our key goals with a lot of people.
Right.
And so bile is a mild laxative. It's where we get rid of a lot of our toxins, and it's how we digest and absorb the fats in our food. So it's
we
really
like bile.
important. Yeah.
We love bile. Not too
Excellent.
much.
So we want our liver to keep doing what it does
What it
properly.
does naturally.
Excellent, because it helps get rid of the junk.
Exactly.
We like that. We don't want any junk.
We don't, but we also don't really want to be doing a detox either, because that's a thing
That's quite
that you
hard,
do like
right?
once a year. Yeah, and if your liver was in that state and then you tell it to throw everything out, it's got nowhere to put it. It's just going to go back. So we'd rather say, let's get you detoxifying beautifully every day and then get you digesting beautifully every day, so that there's no big deal to deal with.
Gotcha. That all makes a lot of sense. Now, one of the things you said earlier was that the skin's the biggest organ, and that really shows up when the liver might not be very happy. So let's talk around that skin-related kind of scenario. So, rashes, psoriasis, eczema, boils,
Yes.
acne,
Yep.
unusual moles. Can that all happen when the liver is unhappy, Lynette?
Well, absolutely, because like with my scenario about the storage containers and the storage units, if your liver is totally full and there's something that needs to get out, then your skin is a great big detox organ. So you can start to see that sort of pre-hormonal acne. You can have a woman who says, the week before my period, there goes my skin, all clear after my period because everything's been thrown out. Rashes, a lot of your patients, particularly your sort of 40-year-old men, are starting to get rashes on their chest.
And they can be allergy related rashes as well. So when the liver's not happy for a while, all of a sudden the immune system starts dysfunctioning, and then those reactions to foods, especially like that histamine intolerance, so cheese, red wine, they can
All
start
the good
getting
things
rashes.
in life.
everything that you used to love.
Oh, man. That's a hard life.
So if you keep your liver happy, you can eat cheese and drink wine. So
There you go. Why wouldn't
do
you?
that?
Why wouldn't you? Okay, so let's talk about blood sugar, because obviously we're talking about that insulin response. I know for me, having had glandular fever, having suffered with eating disorders and things like that, I've really struggled with my sugar levels over the years. I've felt when they're too high. I've been up in the night having to eat food when they're too low. Can the liver actually impact your blood sugar and, and pre-diabetes or even diabetes? Can that be part of that picture?
Yeah, so the liver is a key organ that insulin works with. So usually like heading towards metabolic syndrome and pre-diabetes, the liver is the first thing that gets insulin resistant.
Wow.
So instead of doing its job and making that sugar into fat and processing it in a healthy way, and then later on processing the fat out, it just goes, nope, and the sugar all stays in the blood. And that's when the blood sugar is really high, along with high insulin, which we know is just a place you don't want to be.
Right, and my understanding, Lynette, is that people who have that higher level of insulin, are they more likely to store fat around the belly as well?
That's when you will often see that. Although, again, in type 1, you'll often get that really skinny little person. So, we're usually seeing some weight gain and metabolic syndrome.
Very interesting. Okay, I'm going to hit you with this one, Lynette. We're talking about hormonal imbalances. We're talking about sleep and mental disturbances, mental confusion, depression, sensitivity to medicine, heavy or clotted periods for women or irregular periods, fibroids, which is something we talked about last week, hot flushes, of course, cysts on the ovaries and PCOS, which we talked about last week, mood swings, and the menopause.
Oh my goodness.
What does the liver have to do with all of that?
Well, it has to sort it all out. And whether you've got high estrogen, like if you've got high xenoestrogens that are impacting your hormones, or you've got too much estrogen, you're not having a period, so you're not, as I say, throwing the rubbish out every month. If you're in menopause and you're trying to adjust estrogen, all the rubbish ends up, or tries, as you were saying, to get to the liver and then, do something about it. So the liver is under a lot of stress. And unfortunately, at around about the menopausal age, often we're starting to chill out a little bit, drink a little bit more alcohol, which again is another inhibitor of clearing those xenoestrogens and the estrogenic waste. So we're really starting to challenge our liver pretty much at the time that we need to treat it the very, very best. So it's our liver's working really hard at menopause. That's why we're often seeing a peak in blood pressure for women who, post-menopause. It's a really tough time on the liver, and you're often really grumpy. So it's really easy
I think I must have started then because I'm just grumpy all the time.
Well, it's easy to turn to resveratrol, which is very
medicinal.
good, but it's actually quite harmful.
Well, is it going to mask your symptoms? Is it going to interfere? Is it going to be a disruptor?
Make it a little bit worse.
Right, okay.
Too much is going to make it a lot worse.
Yeah, because the liver has to deal with the alcohol first, so it just parks everything else and goes, let's detoxify the alcohol.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, well, what about all that other stuff?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. So your liver becomes a procrastinator for all those other things.
And that's
we don't want
why
that.
it's like, well, that's I think why we have, because we have a lot of what's called adipose tissue, which is fat in our liver.
Yes.
But we also have it all over our body. And you might see some women who look like they've got, the jodhpurs, so their thighs start becoming quite large, and often very cold. Our body tries to cool those areas down. It doesn't want to burn it. It's like if we heat up, which is also why you can get thyroid downregulation, because if we heat up and you think that all of the stuff stored in our fat is toxic, it's going to be like someone burning plastic bags. It's like you don't want to do that. So our body is very careful at storing stuff away.
That's incredible. I've learned so much tonight. Now, Gina Sterling has just sent in a really interesting comment. Interesting how each part of the body interacts. Being a diabetic, it's interesting to learn my liver is the first to go. Always been told it's my pancreas. Mike, can you talk around that?
Yeah, so the pancreas is definitely, that's the site of insulin production. So it's very key as well. But really that key driver of diabetes is that insulin resistance. So that's really the main thing that's stopping insulin from doing its job.
And is there a difference between type 1 and type 2 when it comes to the role of the liver?
Oh, not the role of the liver, but in the reason for diabetes.
Okay,
yeah.
Really interesting. Gina, I'd love to know more about your situation, because if we help you, that's what the show is absolutely designed to do.
Well, the thing with Gina, type 1 diabetes?
I'm not sure.
So that's a born with.
Yes,
that's
I
genetic.
think she may be type 2. I'd love to hear from you, Gina.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Now, Raja Chetan has just joined us and said, sorry to join in late, Raja, we've been waiting for you, because we're about to talk about the menopause, and I know this is something that you were going to invite all of your friends to watch. But finally, here's the good news about your liver. It is one of those organs that can completely regenerate itself. So I do know of people who have recently had over half of their liver removed. And it is growing and restoring. So there is good news when it comes to the liver and the effect on our hormones, would you say, Mike?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. Just clean it up and turn it around.
Yeah. It's one of the most exciting organs to work with, isn't it? Because it all sounds so awful to this point. Like, my goodness, what have I done to my poor liver, I wish I could just squeeze it out, but you can't. So there's loads of things, and a lot of people who come to see Mike and I, they think they're coming with this, but actually very, very quickly Mike or I will be thinking, no, we got to clean up your liver. And there's so much you can do to do it in a kind and gentle way. So there's lots of different amino acids and good fats and dietary choices and choices around water. There's loads of therapeutics that we use to actually get the liver working
and doing what it's supposed to do, right?
Yeah, you don't need to be on a vinegar diet and sweat lodges and sick and vomiting. No.
That just doesn't sound pretty.
No, that's not how we do it.
Now, Gina Sterling said, thanks, type 2 diabetes.
Oh, okay. So that's that the pancreas has been challenged with its insulin production, and the liver's been going, okay, I give up. slammed the door. I'm not doing this anymore. And so you've got this mismatch in the blood.
Right, okay.
So both organs need support.
So there is hope, even with type 2 diabetes.
Absolutely. I mean, the best thing is not to get there, but there is so much you can do through diet and lifestyle, but also through herbs, specific herbs, some of the ones you were mentioning before.
Yeah, milk thistle is very helpful, but also gymnema is another key one that we would use.
There you go,
Lots
Gina.
and lots to do.
I hope that's been
And
helpful.
some really key micronutrients as well, minerals.
Excellent. We love to hear that. Thank you so much for posting it. Raja's just said, greeting mates. So which herb to prefer for testosterone booster? Tribulus or poison gooseberry? Also, is it normal for a bloke to have a high sexual appetite? Do you know what, Raja? We're going to come back to you very shortly with that because we're about to delve into the menopause. In the meantime, if you're here in Auckland, you can actually go and see some of the amazing medical herbalists and naturopaths who are in training. And the great thing is that is put together by the wonderful people at South Pacific College of Natural Medicine. We're going to show you a video very quickly right now about the team from South Pacific College who are going to tell you all about what goes on at the Power Clinic. Let's take a look right now.
Welcome to Power Clinic. I'm Robin Carruthers, the Clinic Director. The Power Clinic is a student clinic at the South Pacific College of Natural Medicine. We've got two main functions here. One is to give our students a really good educational experience. They're the ones who staff the clinic and they are supervised by experienced practitioners, naturopaths and medical herbalists. Our other role, which is more important, is to provide the community with affordable natural health care. So we have free visits for under 6-year-old children and for people over 65, and our other adult normal fees are heavily subsidised. We see a whole range of people here at Power Clinic, people who've got just minor health complaints, who want to look at a wellness plan, right through to people who are on a range of medications and have quite serious health conditions. A lot of people think with natural health care that if you're taking medications, you can't go to a naturopath. But in fact, we're very careful to take that into account and to work around it and support people while they are taking medications that they need to take. So if this sounds like it might be of interest to you, please give us a call and we'll look forward to seeing you and to helping you on your health journey.
Well, it's a very lively conversation in the studio tonight. If you've just joined us, I'm Annette Bradley. We're here at the YourFixTV studio with medical herbalist and naturopath Mike Ayres and Lynette Hill from My Remedy. Great to have you guys on the couch. What a great chat tonight.
Yeah.
We are talking about the liver and the effects of hormones in your body and what they're doing. Perhaps you've started to do a few things. Perhaps you're becoming a bit less tolerant. Or for you lovely gents, perhaps you've developed man boobs. They are real, by the way. And to talk into this tonight, we're delving into menopause with the lovely Mike Ayres. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so I've got some key things. We've already had questions about tribulus, about adding more testosterone into your life. How do we deal with that? First of all, let's talk about sex drive.
Okay.
A good question. Mike, what happens when people present at the clinic? Men are coming to see you and they're saying about having a problem with their own sex drive. What is going on?
Well, if I talk to Rajas first, because he was talking about kind of the excess versus the lack of, very different situations. But yeah, there's definitely for the lack of sexual drive. Tribulus is a fantastic herb.
Yes.
But we have to be careful around anything we do to increase testosterone in a man, because what we don't want to do is have that testosterone be turned into estrogen, which if your liver's not right and you don't have the required nutrients, it can do. So we would never give anything to someone to increase testosterone unless we were giving at the same time or beforehand things to get the liver right and then to have that pathway of testosterone metabolism or correct, so it's not being pushed and shunted over to estrogen.
Okay, so my understanding with the hormones is that everything's about having this perfect balance. So if you're adding more testosterone into there, won't your body respond to them by producing more estrogen, Lynette?
That's exactly what Mike was saying.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so your body, it's like, oh, you've increased this. Well, here we go. Let's have more of this.
Okay.
Or if there's waste will always, it's converted into estrogen. So
very
then you need
interesting.
more testosterone.
And we also ask, why is testosterone low? You know,
right.
Are you under stress for any reason?
Right.
Yeah, is it a liver issue? Is it a just being overweight and lack of exercise issue? So we have to ask the reasons why to really get to the bottom of it, rather than just and micronutrient deficiencies like zinc and selenium and iodine.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because also, you know, we've got to be really careful because we don't know, you know, if testosterone suddenly drops, that's got to be investigated. Like, go and make sure you have a you know, your well man's check and find out, is there something going on? You know,
A good point.
It's really important.
A good point. Well, Raj has actually just said, send me an invitation. I'll be in Auckland for sure. In fact, I'm getting interested on learning more about all of this through a course, which is
great.
fantastic. Moreover, it will be a delight to be surrounded by all you people with your Kiwi accents. Good evening also to Zaya Sajid, who is watching tonight. Now, Zaya has actually been on a couple of our shows and asked questions about the effects of, say, testosterone and estrogen on women's libidos as well. I know we're focusing on the menopause, and I know your specialist area is more working with men, but are you seeing the same sort of effects working with women as well?
Definitely, yeah. I think they seem to present often with low libido, would you say?
Women?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
Interesting.
many reasons for that. And, you know, it really goes beyond the physical a lot of times. That's where we would, you know, lean on Kate or Steph to really
From your team?
start working. Yeah.
You know, what's going on up here? Is there relationship stuff? Is there unresolved stuff?
Oh, wow.
So it's not
So
all
more of
about
emotional
toxicity
stuff.
and liver. Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've done a lot on stress, and that's the reasons for stress are so huge.
Very interesting.
Yeah, giving somebody tribulus when they're feeling unloved,
Yes.
it's not really going to make much difference.
No, that's so true. So true. Okay, so delving more into menopause tonight. Erectile dysfunction. This is a big one.
Yeah, it is a big one. And I think, you know, that is another one that goes beyond hormones. Erectile dysfunction is really the canary in the coal mine for cardiovascular disease, because it's,
I did not know.
you know, there are those mental, emotional aspects of it, but then it's also just, you know, getting the blood going, really. And if your arteries aren't working, then you can't get the blood going. So
I've learned so much tonight. This is mind-blowing. Zaya Sajid just said, please tell me from which age most women face menopause.
Oh, okay. So it's considered normal, sort of around about late 40s to 50. But there are women like myself going into menopause, you know, late 30s, early 40s. So it really depends. I mean, I have a history with my cancer and, you know, my thyroid and all sorts of things, which may have, or it may be a hereditary thing, but I went into menopause quite young, and still am going through it. But it's probably around about that 50-year-old stage that it's considered to be normal, where things, your periods are just getting lighter and changing, and that's still just all happening quite naturally.
Right.
That's around when we expect to see it. But if something's happening really early, say around 30s, it's still a really good idea at that point to go, if I actually got an issue with my hormones, because it's much better to keep going naturally if you can. And sometimes cleaning up the liver and giving you some really beautiful herbs, you know, Vitex, just to get things going again, can step you into a more normal hormonal action.
Really interesting. Okay, so erectile dysfunction we've looked at, one of the key things with menopause. Let's talk about breast enlargement and man boobs with men.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very real. We see it on the internet. We see it, you know,
quite
at the
distressing.
beach. I know there are a lot of men who are really quite uncomfortable about even discussing it. I mean, what what is the effect of the hormones in that situation?
So oftentimes that is those endocrine disruptors. So that's when we really would look and be like, spend the energy and the time to low tox your life. And
So get rid of the plastics, the cans.
Buy organic food free of pesticides. Have a look in your history for any chemical exposures that we might need to deal with at a deeper level with some of our naturopathic tools, supplements. Yeah.
And we're seeing it in teenage boys as well. And there may be a link to hydrocortisone use as a child when you've got that hydrocortisone getting into the system through the skin, and which is, you know, life-saving for families whose child is screaming, but that liver can't detoxify that easily, so then that sets up to be another toxin in the liver.
And would it be the same with boys perhaps who are taking something like Roaccutane for their acne? Can that really be a disruptor as well, potentially?
Boys and girls.
Boys and girls,
Yeah, it has.
Okay.
There's a lot. You need to read your data sheets whenever you take a medication, and if it says any warnings about alcohol or liver or kidneys, then you take great care of your liver and your kidneys. You don't drink alcohol, you drink your water.
Right.
If you're taking those
Gotcha.
medications.
Now, Abby Leaf just said, "Hey everyone, sorry I'm late." Abby Leaf, welcome to the show. I know we're running quite late tonight. I know it's nearly 8 o'clock, so we will have to head away shortly.
Okay.
But the final thing I want to talk about with menopause is the effects of on infertility with men. It's not just a female thing as well. So what are you seeing, Mike, with fertility issues with men?
So micronutrient deficiencies is a big one. So in New Zealand, we're deficient in iodine and selenium in general in our diet, which are really important for metabolic health. Zinc deficiency is huge, and stress is a big one. There's some lifestyle things around heat, temperature, cell phones being in the pockets, that sort of thing.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot we can do to actually protect ourselves.
That is fascinating to me. I mean, I forget, you know, we go through even down to skincare, Lynette. You've got even skincare that people can use, which is not going to disrupt the hormones because it's made of real ingredients and real food. You know, you've got some of the Kathy Organics range. That's the sunscreen there. Things like that, you know, that's made from a coconut base. There's no nasties, no parabens, no chemicals in there. So should people become more conscious as the consumer to look for things that aren't loaded with chemicals?
Oh, I think so. This is beautiful. Like, there's actually nothing in there you can't eat. You know, so it's kind of like a smoothie.
For your skin.
Smoothie for your
We like
face.
that.
You're putting it on. If it's going into your body, is that actually okay? So really looking at, you know, everything that is here is a word, you know, beeswax and plant-based, whereas if it's numbers and chemical equations, warning. So I love products like Kathy and anything that's organic skincare, or anything that is just really, really high in food and low in chemicals.
Well, as you said earlier, your skin's your biggest organ, right?
Yeah.
So if you're taking anything in through your skin, including the environment you live in, you know, all the chemicals that are floating around, all those free radicals, chances are that's going to affect the liver, right?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Poor old liver.
Poor old liver. Now, finally, before we go, Raj has just said, I like to I have used it because I'm a gym rat. So I take 2,000 milligrams. I think it's talking about Tribulus.
Yep.
It made me gain cuts or cutting fat.
Oh, ripping. And,
gotcha. So much energy, muscle strength, but I felt high sexual activity. Though I channeled it to the muscles, still the sexual desires are high. So is the answer about balance? How can he balance that out?
So probably the Tribulus might be a bit too much. Yeah, I would say find a Tribulus in tea form that you can really just have in a really low dose if you want to keep having it. But there's other ways to really have that lean ability and be muscular without
all that stuff,
without cranking testosterone too high.
Especially if you're already healthy and you don't want to put your liver under extra stress. Would you say that too, Lynette?
Absolutely, and the heart.
and the heart. A good point.
And the relationships.
So true. So true. Well, it is time to head away. Now, if you've got more questions, you can actually funnel those into the Health Bites group. All you need to do is in your search bar in Facebook, you need to just type in there Health Bites and you'll be able to find us. And we would love you to join that group because that's the forum for our experts to be able to answer your questions, and you can connect directly with health professionals there. So it is time to go now. This has been our longest broadcast. It was supposed to be a 30-minute show that's turned into over an hour long, but it's such a big topic. We have more topics coming up. If you've missed any of our shows, they will be rebroadcast next week. A big thanks to the South Pacific College of Natural Medicine for supporting the show and making a difference and creating more wellness practitioners who are going out there and doing great work. We love you guys. And also, if you want to have a consultation with a medical herbalist or a naturopath, you can do that either at the Power Clinic here in Auckland, or you can visit the team at My Remedy. They have amazing experts from naturopaths to homeopaths to Hemaview experts and to, of course, hypnotherapists and everything you need. And of course, be part of the show. Send us your questions. Do that in the Health Bites group. And we want to know, what do you want to see? We are going to focus very soon on obesity. We are going to talk about diabetes. We are going to have those big conversations around fertility. So please be part of that show. And remember, share this show, because the more that we can do to help more people, that's our why with the show. That's what we're here to do. Help more people and, heal more people.
Yep.
Share the love, share the healing. That's what we're all about. So excellent to have you all with us. We've got to go. It's time for dinner. Thank you so much, Lynette, for being on the couch tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And Mike, it's wonderful having you here and talking about those big issues to do with men. And as always, be safe out there. Look after yourselves, love one another, and be amazing. I'm Monique Bradley. We're here in the YourFixTV studio. A big thanks to Pete, who's behind the scenes tonight, producing the show, and have an amazing week. We'll see you next time.
Are you tired of feeling tired? Are you struggling with vitality? Or does your body just not feel great? Join today's hosts Monique Bradley and registered naturopath Lynette Hill to talk about your health. It's Health Bites, bite-sized pieces of health and wellness information so you can own your health. Well, good evening and welcome to Health Bites. Tonight we are talking about hormones, and it's been a really big topic here at Health Bites because your hormones dictate virtually every part of your life, from your state of mind to your behaviour, your body shape, your eating habits, and even your reaction to stress. So it's essential that we don't ignore those little symptoms or those little niggles we might have, thinking that something's up with our hormones or if something's off. Luckily, we have tonight on the YourFixTV couch health advocate, natural medicine practitioner and registered naturopath. This is Lynette Hill from My Remedy. Kia ora, Lynette.
Hello.
Nice to have you on the couch tonight.
Oh, it's good to be here again.
And we're up close and personal with everybody this evening to have a really open discussion about hormones. Now, whether you're watching on South Pacific College of Natural Medicine's page, My Remedy, Lynette Hill Naturopath page, YourFixTV, or if you're watching on Periscope tonight, big shout out to our Periscope followers. Feel free to ask questions, even if you're in our Health Bites group, send them on through, because that's what we're here to do, to talk to you and answer your questions about your health. So, we're talking about hormones. Big topic.
Yeah, it's a huge topic.
Don't cry.
I'm not going to cry. That would be far too hormonal.
But it seems that there are so many people living in a state where they don't feel great. They don't know what's going on. They go and get their bloods done and everything seems okay, and yet they still have unexpected weight gain. They're growing a beard, which is not nice on a woman, let's be fair.
No, not on a woman.
Men are starting to adopt a trainer bra.
Yes,
and it's
we
not
have man
okay.
boobs.
Yeah. So when people are coming into your clinic, how do people know that something could be wrong with their hormones? What are the symptoms? What do you see?
Well, usually by the time someone comes into a clinic, they've been battling for quite some time. So they've often got, we've discussed the gut symptoms and the stress symptoms, but we're talking more into the hormonal things tonight. So people, women particularly, be having trouble with their periods. They may be really, really painful or irregular or, just not right. And a lot of people, when I ask them about their general health, think their periods and their hormones are fine. It's not till I ask them questions that they'll realise, oh, whoops, that's actually not fine.
Or that's not normal.
Not normal. Just because everyone has it doesn't make it right.
It's like period pain, right? My understanding is that most people go through patches of having bad periods, but that's not normal.
It doesn't need to be really, really painful and awful. So there are things that you can do. And we'll also have, obviously menopause is really obvious. Something is changing. Things are becoming less, and you're becoming hot, and you're becoming evil, and all sorts of things happen.
I must be in the menopause then.
Yeah, and men have issues with their hormones too. So we call it menopause when it's just maybe things changing, body shape. But also there are some serious things that can go wrong with men and testosterone and PSA levels and all sorts of things.
Okay.
So we get a wide range of...
So what are the key things that you see? So what are the key symptoms? So if you're watching tonight, some of these symptoms may resonate with you. That's why I thought let's go through the list of what to be aware of and perhaps what to seek help for. What are the symptoms?
The first thing would be bloating and pain, particularly around the cycle. So that is something that does not need to happen and can be looked after. Changes around the chin for a woman with acne, including on her body often. Or hair growth or hair thinning is something to look out for. Lumps in breasts, which you've had checked out, that are not cancerous, absolutely, but lumpy breasts are important to look into. Excessive bleeding, lack of bleeding, all sorts of things. Lack of sleep, hot flushes. These are all things that can be helped.
Moody teenagers.
Yes.
Angry 6-year-olds or 4-year-olds who get that testosterone surge, who are like, fight, I cut you. You know what I mean, though? They're really aggressive.
Got the scars.
Really aggressive. I've seen it. I've worked with kids for 15 years professionally, and I saw it as a performing arts teacher, actually. The real change in behaviour around that age.
It's massive, isn't it?
It is, but is it normal?
Well, a lot of it is normal. So we all come into our hormones at a different age, but it's around about we get a hit. Obviously, when we're born, we have lots of growth happening. We get another little hit around 4 years old, and a lot of parents think their children have totally lost the plot and are not ready for school when they were 2 months ago. Around about 6 or 7, obviously puberty. Now that can range from anywhere now, sadly, from 8 years old right through into 16.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, our sort of our normal's getting wider, which I think is
What's
sad.
the cause of that? Well, obviously you can't say, but...
there's so many things. Stress is a big one. Diet is a huge one. Pollutants in our foods, so some of the chemicals and preservatives and the
hormones,
packaging. And some of our meats we know have got hormonal treatments to grow them really fast, but it seems to be growing us really fast.
Whoops.
So, and genetics as well. I mean, we're all blessed with our own genes.
So true. Yeah. Very true. Now, one of the key things, of course, when we think about hormone issues is we think things like fertility, we think menopause, we think mood swings, irritability. We also think feeling, those mood swings where we have those blue days. Can potentially hormonal imbalances affect things or trigger things like depression, anxiety, stress, fatigue? Can that be a cause?
Well, sometimes people are on, we had a discussion another time about antidepressants, and a lot of people are saying, well, I'm on the antidepressant, but I still have these issues and this lowness. And when we talk to them, we may find out that it's really cyclic. Yeah. So it's actually, you're pretty good most of the time, but around about the week before your period, you get body pain and you get, you get really down and really blue. So that's where we'd be starting to think, is this actually not so much a depressed state, but a hormonal state?
Very interesting. So, okay, so in a situation like somebody who those blue days have kind of extended for a longer period of time, what happens, say, when they go to a doctor and they are diagnosed with depression? So they're given that label and they're given something, say, like a Prozac, which has the serotonin to, give back the chemical. What if that's a hormonal imbalance?
Well, those people will generally be the ones that say, I feel a little bit less depressed as such, but I still don't feel bright and happy, and there's still something lacking. Because if it is that you're really, really low in estrogen, you're going to be crying. So, you know, the antidepressants will help to a certain point, and you must stay on medication if you're on them. Yes, of course. Because coming off them is a trial all in itself. But if there is still a real lacking of something, then we need to look further, and we need to do really good, extensive hormone tests to find out, you know, is the estrogen high? Is it low? What about progesterone? What's happening with testosterone? Yes. What's happening with the liver? I mean, if the liver is just loaded with garbage, are we even detoxifying our hormones?
Wow, didn't think of that.
Yeah, remember the liver?
Amazing, amazing. Now I can see that we've got people on all the streams tonight, and also a big shout out to our followers watching on Periscope this evening as well. Great to have you on board. Now, if you've got friends who perhaps are challenged with their hormones right now, and you'll know it, they may be suffering from adult acne, they may have said to you, oh, I don't feel like being intimate with my partner anymore, so they're really struggling with their libido, unexplained weight gain, fertility issues, perhaps your girlfriend's growing a moustache, let's be honest, or a beard, you know, it happens. Nausea, yes, of course, insomnia. If you've got friends in that position, just very kindly share the stream tonight and invite them to be part of the show, because if we can shed some light on something that may be troubling them, that's what this show is designed to do. We're here to help you talk through your options and your friends and your family's options as well. Perhaps they've experienced acne through or gestational diabetes, all that sort of thing through pregnancy. If you've got somebody in that position, please invite them to tonight's stream. Carefully. And if we can help, in a nice way, if we can help, that's what we're here to do. We do, however, have to share a disclaimer with you, just to let you know that we are not here to diagnose during the show. We can't diagnose, treat or cure any illness while we're broadcasting. What we are actually here to do is talk you through your options. So perhaps you've been to a doctor or a healthcare professional and you still haven't got the answers you're looking for. This is an open discussion to help you or your friends or your family with their health. So please feel free to send your questions and concerns through, and we're happy to help you out. And if we can't help you here, Lynette's more than happy to recommend a healthcare professional that may be able to help you on your way to finding optimal health and having that happen in your life. Raja Chetan, hello to you, has just said, good morning, ladies. By every passing episode, the show is becoming more interesting, informative, and gluing blokes here.
Oh,
gluing.
Brilliant.
We like it.
Yeah, stay glued.
You stay glued. Next week, Raja, we are talking about the menopause as well. So if you've got friends who might be struggling in their life a little bit, please invite them on. We love having men watching our show as well.
And just to get men discussing hormones, because they don't belong to women. They belong to humankind. So it'd be great to get more men on here. Also, if you know a little bit about what women and men are going through, it just helps you to be more understanding.
Now, on that point, we've actually got a screen graphic that we're going to share right now, which is the difference between estrogen and progesterone in the body. So we'll bring that screen graphic up for you guys right now so we can take a look. Here we go. Look at this, a very interesting diagram there. Raja's just asked, shall I tell my mum to watch your show? Absolutely, Raja. This is for every age and stage of your life. Lynette, talk us through this diagram. Okay, so estrogen is about building. So we're building things, and it's really important. We need it to do that. So building the uterine lining so that we can, you know, fall pregnant. Of course. And of course, progesterone helps us to put that little baby in there snug and keep it safe. So beautiful. So estrogen and progesterone should be really good friends, and when they're balanced, our whole hormonal outcome is in balance. So we don't want too much estrogen because that is inflammatory, and we don't want too much progesterone because too little progesterone because that is anti-inflammatory. Right, gotcha. So you can just sort of see there the hard and the soft hormones. Yeah.
that we have.
I love that. That's really amazing. So if somebody is higher in estrogen, just looking at that, what are the sort of effects that they're most likely to see, or that they might present to you in clinic?
The main things is anything to do with inflammation. So you might see an increase in body size and particular parts of a woman. There may be increase in tissues. So we might have fibroids, which we're going to talk about. Really, some people have got some fairly nasty things like endometriosis. We're going to see changes to how you can control your blood sugar levels. There's lots of increased risk when, so we're going to see lots more inflammatory issues going on. And for women who are really low in progesterone, it seems to be more of the emotional side of things. So people come in and go, I got no mojo. It's gone.
Oh, wow.
It's gone. Haven't got it.
Wow.
Don't want it. Don't care. And there's, just not that energy and zest. And so progesterone makes you feel young and lovely.
We like that. We like young and lovely. That's fantastic.
We get the angry one come in and we get the sad one come in.
We don't want that at all. Okay, so I understand that. This is all about balance. Now, if you've just joined the stream, welcome. I'm Monique Bradley. We're here at the YourFixTV studio. This is Lynette Hill, an advocate for natural medicine and a registered naturopath from My Remedy, here to talk to you about your health options when it comes to balancing your hormones. I read a great quote somewhere that said, I used to be a lot of fun till my hormones decided to do something different. So,
That is
which is so true. So true.
Blame your hormones.
They're so true. Now, we have a Facebook group for this show, and the Facebook group is called Health Bites. All you need to do is search. There you go. You can just search for Health Bites in your search engine on Facebook and you'll be able to find us. Now, you can join that group and you can actually speak directly with health professionals in there. We have over 200 people in that group who are very keen to share what's going on in their life, or if something during our shows has resonated with them. And it seems that hormones has been a little bit of a tricky one for people, but we have had some great questions come in from that group when I first posted out about the topic. So here comes Facebook question number 1. And this came in from Karen, who said, when it comes to hormones, how do you get rid of them? Lol, seriously. So this is her words. I want to know everything about affecting mood. At nearly 50, I can have like 4 seasons or moods in a day. Very aware of it and have to watch how you handle it, or don't handle things. Lol. How do you deal with that, Lynette? Thank you, Karen, for your question.
Thank you, Karen. So absolutely, that is that hormonal storm, and it is 4 seasons in one day as far as your moods are concerned. You can just have a little bit of stress and suddenly you're having a hot flush and you've got like zero ability to cope. So that would be suggesting that maybe the liver's getting a little bit overworked. Maybe estrogen's not being cleared so well, because when you stop having periods, which starts happening, and I hope I don't meet you in the street, Karen, because with all these moods, I don't know what's going to happen. But if you are struggling to clear out the rubbish with a monthly period, those toxins can build a little bit at the liver for a while until your body adjusts and gets over it and everything realigns. So you actually have to almost learn again how to deal with estrogen and progesterone. And so if we're really flat because we've just had enough, we might get too much adrenaline and then we're just anxious, and it's really quite messed up. So how you deal with it is, Karen, you know where we are, come and see us and we'll have a look at what's going on, work it out, see what what you might be doing that might be making it better or worse. Looking at some herbs that might just calm the farm down a little bit.
I love that.
And if we get really stuck, if there's that many seasons, we might look at something like, the Dutch testing or really good blood test to work out
so that's great.
What Karen needs.
I love that. Now, Heidi Spearman just said, I have endometriosis. It's horrible. Heidi, we're going to actually talk about that tonight and hopefully shed a little bit of light on there for you. And Bridget Jackson just said, such an important topic to discuss. It is. I totally agree. Thanks, Bridget. Share it. Invite all your friends, especially if they're going through a little bit of a hot flush right now. It would be great to have them. Raja Chetan just said, I really appreciate your efforts here, but I was wondering if something for men should also be discussed. I'm sure we men have some hormones. Next week, Raja.
Yeah. We have a man coming here, Mike, who most of you have met already, and he's going to be talking about men, coming from a men's perspective, and I'll be chiming in because I can't help myself.
Excellent. We've got a whole bunch of people watching on Periscope tonight. If you are watching on Periscope and you've got any questions about what we're talking about, please send your questions through, or if you're watching on Facebook as well, send them on through. We love hearing from you. Patsy Paxton, some of my contemporaries are on HRT. Is there a natural alternative?
Yes.
That's a good question.
Yes. Yeah. So there's HRT, and then there's bioidentical hormones, and then there are levels. It's a bit like the ladder. And then there are herbs that can promote, say, more progesterone or simmer down the estrogen. So as a naturopath, what I look at is why. I mean, if you are a certain age, menopause is normal. It's just it doesn't need to be awful. So once we know the liver is sorted, the diet and the lifestyle is pretty good. If someone's totally flat with progesterone, they do have options, and HRT is one of them. Bioidentical hormones is another, and you need to go to a specialist type of clinic for that, which I can share some information of where to go. Or the safe option to start with is looking at herbs that might regulate those hormones, and I always think that's a good place to start before bounding on to.
Start, isn't
That's
it?
right, because our body spent all this time trying to work out. Right, I'm just about at menopause. That means I have to, slow production of this down and lift this and slow that, and then you go and bang in these hormones, and you've just got this solid level again. So it means you're kind of a bit stuck there. And then often what we'll find with sort of hormones that are popped in, same as the pill, at a regular level, the body can still be trying to adjust to balance things out. So they need to be looked after very carefully.
Amazing. Very, very good question there.
It's a
Thanks, Patsy.
minefield.
Nick Hill said, stream sounds great. Thank you to
Thank
Mr.
you,
Peter
Nick.
Ward, who is behind the camera. He's our producer, who's doing all the technical tonight. Thanks, Pete. Congratulations. Zaya Sajid Libra just said, what is the treatment of loss in libido in females after 39 years of age?
So that is, again, we're not diagnosing anything, but what I'd be doing is getting along to a specialist or a doctor or a naturopath who's able to check your progesterone levels particularly, and all three forms of estrogen. Also looking at your liver. So hopefully you can find someone who is going to take a holistic look at you and can work out what's high, what's low, do you need any help with something? I do have to say that as a naturopath or a medical herbalist, that's the sort of thing that we like to do, is we actually don't want to just give you something and go, oh, it sounds like you've got low progesterone, so I'm going to give you this.
Right.
We like to work out, is that okay at this age and stage? Is there something we can do to make that a bit easier? Is it just not okay? Do you need to go to a specialist? Is there something else going on? Is there something that's competing for that progesterone? So there's no quick sort of answer.
It's like a giant jigsaw puzzle.
It is. Do you know what it's like? It's like someone gives you a box of puzzles, puzzle pieces.
Yes.
And they forgot to put the picture on top. So it's like, I've got a bit of an idea what this could be based on the puzzle pieces. Then they've put some puzzles in from another box by mistake and left some of your ones out, and you've got to somehow
Piece it all
get
together.
the answer.
That's just hard work, hard work. All right, we've got another Facebook question just come in. This is actually from Tracy Marie Huia, my lovely friend Tracy, who said, how the heck do others cope with the M word?
The M word.
The M word when it comes to hormones, M word hormones, menopause, menstrual and male. A big question there from Tracy.
I love these really wide open questions.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, menopause, like I say, I've actually been going through menopause since I was 39, so that's quite a few years, and I won't tell you how many. And a few of you may have noticed that I often go, I've got it here now, red. This is a hot flush. This is what I do, and I do this every time I'm under these lights or I'm stressed, talking to people about hormones. So the M word, menopause, that is a real tough one. I actually feel like I've coped quite well with it, but I've got lots of tools in my kit. Some people don't cope very well at all. Go and ask somebody who helped you with menopause. Get a referral. What was the second M word? Menstrual. That should not be so difficult. So if it is difficult, if your child is not entering into having periods, get that sorted out. Round about 14, just make sure everything's going along nicely. If they're really awful, they don't need to be. So we need to find out why they're awful. It may be that this child has an inflammatory diet, doesn't drink any water and needs some magnesium. It could be really simple. Males, how do we deal with males?
Yeah,
or?
I think maybe the menopause, which is what Roger may have been asking about last week, for next week.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually really feel for some of my male patients. Some of them are dealing with treatment for prostate cancer, which is really tough. And they're given estrogen to sort of balance their testosterone. And then they actually start to experience some symptoms that we have. So they may have hot flushes and nausea, and they might have breast pain and tenderness. Yeah, and it's very, very, very hard on them. So that's a sort of an extreme condition for men, which I take really seriously because, you know, that can be quite challenging to men. And men have same issues as we do. They might fall in and out of love. They might have challenges with their emotions, their hormones rise and fall. They may not feel manly enough. They might feel too manly and need to sort that out. There's all sorts of issues. So hopefully Mike can just come from a male perspective, because only a man knows what it feels like in a man's skin.
That's true. Now next week we will have both a nutritionist, Amy the nutritionist.
Yeah, she's a naturopath.
She's a naturopath.
And she does work with nutrition and dietary plans.
And we've got Mike to speak from the man's perspective on health as well, and talk about the menopause. Now tonight we will be talking very briefly about polycystic ovaries. I hope I said that right.
Yes.
We're talking about your thyroid tonight. We're talking about endo. So if you've got friends who are really challenged with those conditions as well, please invite them to tonight's stream. Now we have one more question before we go to our quick video. And this question has come in from my lovely friend Rachel, who said, I want to know about ways to deal with hormonal symptoms or reactions. Food, vitamins and creams. What are your thoughts about that?
I like that. Food is so important. So food is one of the things that I always look at when someone is going through a hormonal challenge, because like I've sort of said, there are foods that can be quite inflammatory. So there's no sense continuing that diet and then trying to take something anti-inflammatory.
Yes, of course.
So looking at the diet and the lifestyle and the habits around water and also, what was second? Food?
Vitamins.
Vitamins, yeah, that is important. So we actually start needing some help at this point usually. And, you know, a couple of things that spring to mind might be, magnesium. One thing that springs to mind, magnesium in the correct form can be really, really beneficial. Herbs that support the liver are really, really beneficial. So it's just looking at, is this just a hormonal imbalance, or is this because of something else? And if it's because of something else, like gut dysfunction or liver, you know, lack of detoxification and toxicity, we need to find out which pathway we're going down, and then we know what to put in, take out, and what to do about it.
Okay, so the third thing she asked about was creams. What are your thoughts on, you know, not the thyroid cream, but the progesterone cream?
So that was what I was talking with Patsy about just a moment ago. Sorry, swallowing my tongue. That's menopause. Everything's menopause.
Have a glass of water.
I will. So there are creams you can use, and some of them are like natural creams, and you know, I imagine that they're safer. However, again, it's like, is that actually what you need to just use a cream? Or is there something that we could do to turn things around, change things that you don't need the cream? So, you know, just be really cautious when someone says, oh, I used this cream and it got me better. And someone else will use it, and, you know, it might be progesterone, and that person feels awful.
Yes.
So it's be
Seek
cautious.
a professional first. That's the answer. Debbie Curtis has just asked, I have a friend who has started growing dark hair, hard, firm, single hairs under her chin, and seems to get more as the time goes on. Is this normal? It
actually, sadly, is normal. And it's one of those little, blessed little menopause symptoms. And again, it's just because our hormones are changing. So don't quote me on what that one is, but it's one of the hormones that is out of balance. And usually you just need to find somebody who's going to take care of you. Find a beauty therapist. However, if you've got too many of them too young, then that is more of a androgynous issue, which is the male hormones. So it is a part of menopause. Sadly.
Excellent. Kate's just asked, how about mega anxiety and you don't know what it is for us menopauses?
And so that can be like, when your progesterone drops, it can be like you're flying along in a plane and everything's sweet, and suddenly it drops, because menopause for some women, like me, it's just kind of been this insidious, gradual thing that I've got used to. But for some people, it's like, today, you're in menopause.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it's just like, you just dropped, and you haven't had any chance to get used to it. So you've lost all of that feel-good feeling, and you're suddenly in this new reality of, you know, anxiety, hot flushes, you know, everything someone says to you makes you cry.
Oh no!
You know, it's really tough. It's like going through puberty at the wrong time, because you've got all of life's stresses. Whereas when you go through puberty, you can just be snarly and slam the door and lie in the bedroom. You don't have to cook the dinner and clean the house.
Poetry.
Yeah, so it's much harder to do puberty the second time round.
Gotcha. I love that though. It's nice. It's really nice. Now, if you are looking for some help, we do have the team at My Remedy, which is Lynette's practice here in Auckland, who are more than happy to help you out. In fact, we've got a quick video to share with you to show you a little bit about the team, what the areas of expertise are, and how they may be able to help.
Have you ever considered that symptoms are often the outward sign of something deeper and can just be the body's way of saying, help me? The great news is that even small changes from the inside out can affect your whole health outcome. So, are you ready to make positive changes? The team at My Remedy work with you to find solutions for optimal health and can help you with many health challenges. Their team of qualified and registered naturopaths are there to help with any health condition: gut health, skin conditions, adrenal fatigue and immune health, cardiovascular and men's health, and nutritional health. At My Remedy, they also have a registered homeopath and hypnotherapist who are there to help with the deepest challenges to your health, your beliefs, your fears, your habits and behaviours. So if you're ready to create better health for you and your family, try a different approach. Visit myremedy.co.nz or give them a call on 09486 2175. My Remedy. It's your remedy. Have you ever considered that symptoms are often the outward sign of something deeper and can just be the body's way of saying, help me? The great news is that even small changes from the inside out can affect your whole health outcome. So, are you ready to make positive changes? The team at My Remedy work with you to find solutions for optimal health and can help you with many health challenges. Their team of qualified and registered naturopaths are there to help with any health condition: gut health, skin conditions, adrenal fatigue and immune health, cardiovascular and men's health, and nutritional health. At My Remedy, they also have a registered homeopath and hypnotherapist who are there to help with the deepest challenges to your health, your beliefs, your fears, your habits and behaviours. So if you're ready to create better health for you and your family, try a different approach. Visit myremedy.co.nz or give them a call on 09486 2175. My Remedy. It's your remedy.
Well, good evening and welcome to Health Bites, brought to you in association with the South Pacific College of Natural Medicine and My Remedy. You've just seen the team right there. I'm Monique Bradley and tonight's a really big night. Good evening, Lynette Hill from My Remedy. Lovely to have you on the couch. How are you feeling?
I'm good, thanks, Monique.
Excellent.
Hi, everybody.
Well, if you have ever uttered the term, I used to be a lot of fun until my hormones drove me crazy, then chances are this show is for you. In fact, the next 3 weeks of our live broadcasts are going to be talking about your hormones, what they do in your body, how they can affect your health, and what to do about it. And we've really got an amazing lineup of topics tonight. So chances are, if you've really struggled with fatigue, infertility, unexplained weight gain, loss of libido, or any of these kind of symptoms that you talk about with your girlfriend while you're having coffee, then chances are your hormones may not be playing nicely. And that's why we have registered naturopath Lynette Hill on the couch to talk about all things hormonal. Let's start. Let's get started straight away. Now, as always, if you've got any questions, please feel free to message in during the stream. We're happy to help. So, Lynette, big question. We've all got hormones. What do they actually do?
The crazy thing is they do everything. They make every part of our body do something. They are created in the endocrine system, which is our glandular system, and they act on our liver and our kidneys and our heart and our reproductive organs. So anything that works in our body has a hormone doing something.
Are you for real?
Yes.
I thought food drove all that stuff and made it all happen. I didn't know. I didn't know that. Okay, so most often we hear, when it comes to hormonal stuff, the first thing that sort of piques my interest, or I think of, especially because I'm 44, is that big topic of menopause. And obviously the real big hormonal things we probably talk about openly would be puberty.
Yes.
And that big change in our lives, and menopause. So aside from those, what hormonal changes do you see when people come into clinic?
Well, puberty obviously is a big one. So we start seeing some changes, particularly with teenage skin.
Of course.
Something's going on there.
Of course.
And children that are starting to show more sexual behaviours. So we know something's happening and changing. There's also a bit of a hormonal shift around 4 years old too. So, you know, word of warning to those mums with those crazy little boys running around. If you think they've gone mad, they're just getting a little shot of testosterone, doing another wee, ready for some more growing. We see a lot of PMS, PMT, so nasty, teary, all over the place emotions, you know, in that week before and during a period, which doesn't need to happen.
I was going to say, isn't that normal?
Well, it is normal, sadly. You know, normal doesn't mean it's correct. Just because lots of people have the same symptoms doesn't mean that we all should have them.
Wow. Now, if any of that is resonating with you, look, let us know, message in on the news feed and let us know if you think your hormones may not be doing so well, because this is your opportunity to speak with the expert. And if Lynette can share any advice or some ideas on how to get through those emotional times and stop you from being a little bit teary, then this is the place to ask. So I'd like to say a good evening to Miranda Sophie, who's watching, to Andrea Robinson, Tracy Brown, good to see you on the news feed, and also to everybody in our group as as well. Just having a look now. If you're new to watching Health Bites, we have a Facebook group where it's an open forum where you can ask experts questions about your own health. And we are talking for the next 3 weeks about... Wow, there's a few people in the group actually tonight. We're talking about hormonal changes in your body and how your hormones work. Rachel Thompson said, love your hair, Lynette.
Thank you, very brave.
Really interested to know how you can tell if you're menopausal and when is too young.
Oh,
that is
a really good
question
because I actually started getting my first symptoms of menopause at 39, and I was told consistently that I would not be going through menopause. So I had some blood tests done which showed I could and was going through menopause.
Wow.
Usually you're going to start noticing some changes in breast tissue. You might find that your stomach changes, so that little pot might just start to come out a little bit, harder to lose weight. You might get hot flushes. You might feel like you're growing little devil's horns, and you're starting to say some honesty that maybe you wouldn't have said. It's a little bit like living in that week before your period, but all the time.
Oh,
yeah. Sorry to my family out there.
So Rachel, I hope that answers your question. Such a good question, actually, I have to say. So people, what about women? I know a lot of women who started menstruating really young. They went through puberty. They were getting their periods at 10. Are they more likely to then go into menopause earlier?
No, there's no hard or fast rules about when you start and if it comes earlier or not, because there's so many contributing factors. Did you get pregnant? Were you on the pill? Were you on hormone replacement therapy? What was your liver like? What was your stress like? What was your diet like? There are so many. It's not one thing. It's not like we have a gland that makes our hormone. You know, our hormones are part of our whole body. So,
A really good point. So I have to ask, while we are on the topic of menopause, and we won't be speaking for 3 weeks about menopause, we'll be talking about the menopause as well, just putting it out there right now. With menopause, so many women have been speaking to me because I've been going through a huge weight loss journey about the fact that once you hit menopause, you can't do anything, you're just going to gain weight anyway. Is that true?
Well, it can be true. So it's definitely, in my opinion, harder to lose weight. So it's more important to do those good habits and good food and exercise and sleep and water. But nothing's impossible. And I think it can be, you can often be feeling a little bit tired and a little bit rubbishy. And so it's easy to let things slip. So I think it's not that it's an excuse, but it can certainly be easier to slip into those habits and maybe harder to do something about it.
Gotcha. Yeah. So long as you're eating a well-balanced diet, getting some exercise, the menopause myth doesn't have to be real.
The whole thing doesn't have to be real, and I think you've always got choices to make. So I am a different shape and size than I used to be. The cool thing about menopause is I just don't care so much anymore. And health to me is more about how do I feel, how much energy have I got, is my sleep okay, am I coping with menopause, can I, is my hair falling out, or are those things happening? And if they're not, then I am quite happy to be going through this natural stage of my life. In fact, I can't wait till it's finished. So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, we are here every Monday night at 7 p.m. with this amazing show, just helping answer your questions and hopefully steering you in the right direction when it comes to your health. However, we do have to share this disclaimer. The one thing we can't do is we can't diagnose while we are live on air. In fact, if anything that you see during the show does actually resonate with you, the one thing we would suggest is that you go and consult your healthcare professional, or even get in touch with the team at My Remedy, who can help give you some advice by actually working with you and seeing you in the clinic. They can give you an idea of what may not be working so well and how they can help you achieve optimal health. Right. Okay, Lynette's just checking the news feed as well. Good to see, good to see. All right, now if you have just joined us, welcome. This is Health Bites. We're talking about your hormones at the moment. And look, I know this is a big topic. I've been speaking to so many people online about the fact that they hit a certain age, they can't do anything about their weight, they're losing their libido, they're growing hair in all sorts of weird places. Yeah, I know. My fans and my followers are very honest. But
are they all menopausal?
Well, I'm in my mid-40s myself, so I think like attracts like. That's the way I see it. So when people are experiencing these symptoms, Lynette, what should they do? You know, we've got hot flushes, or you know, it might be the memory loss and the fatigue or the stress, or, you know, that fog.
Yeah. And
what
also,
do they do?
a lot of that's also experienced in our young people too, and, you know, our teenagers going through getting used to their hormones, and all through the ages with PMT and PMS. So what we can do is get the basics right. And we're going to look at our ladder shortly.
Oh, yes.
And, you know, that's about, you know, is my diet full of good, you know, lots of greens and, you know, real foods and not too many, you know, trans fats, and lots of good oils and water. Are we exercising? So it always comes back down to those naturopathic principles of diet and lifestyle, correct? So we can do all of that. And if we're still not sort of getting where we want to and struggling, whether it be with PMT or libido or menopause, dare I say the word again, then I would suggest the best thing you can do is go and see a naturopath or a medical herbalist who's actually trained to look at you and go, well, these are the things we know have an impact on your hormones, and just sort of guide you and take the load off you while we sort out a plan for you to clean things up and get things back on track.
I love that. Now, Katie English has just messaged in and said, I was very lucky as I had no symptoms at all.
Oh, so lucky.
Katie, that's because you eat well and you exercise. So, you know, good lifestyle choices.
Katie is actually, we know Katie very well. Hi, Katie. Katie is an example of how to get it right. You know, she's got a fabulous attitude to life, you know, and hormonally blessed maybe.
Yeah.
But also, like you say, great diet, great lifestyle. I've had lunch with Katie and I've been ashamed.
Because of what you had, and she ate so well, I know, right? She said basically with her periods became erratic, then stopped altogether, and that was it.
And that's lovely. That's actually how it wants to be.
It's so nice to actually hear a really nice story about the experience. Now, Shelley Hannah just said, hiya, Mrs. Hill.
Hello, Shelley. Shelley's my cousin.
Oh, yay. Nice to have you on the stream tonight. Now, what about when it comes to, say, hormones with regards to your fertility? Because I know there's a lot of women out there, and men as well, who can't father or, you know, a child, or they can't, you know, carry one. Is that the effects of your hormones as well?
That's a really complicated picture. So it can be hormonal, it can be that you're not making enough sperm or enough eggs, so there's some mechanics involved. It can be a toxicity issue at the liver, which is really difficult because often when people are trying to get pregnant later in life, they've had a great old time and done a little bit of damage. And,
too much partying.
Yeah, that liver is taking care of you, the mother. So, you know, it's also got to take care of the baby. So we need to really look into things like liver health and cholesterol and all of those things. So again, it's such a complicated question, and it's such a complicated topic, but again it does come back to, are there some basic things you can do? Yes, diet and lifestyle for fertility is massively important. Age, making sure those periods are regular, and getting yourself really well checked out too before you get too far down the line. Make sure that physically you are able, that he is able, that she is able, and there's no reason that the pregnancy shouldn't happen. And that's when you know, certain herbs and acupuncture and all sorts of things are being used really well.
Excellent. So let's talk about, for people watching tonight, let's talk about some of the really common symptoms that could potentially indicate that there could be a hormonal balance in play. So I know for me, unexplained weight gain.
Okay.
I eat well, I thought I slept well, I thought I did everything well. Chances are my thyroid wasn't functioning right. So what else are you seeing that could indicate, just in case this resonates with somebody who's watching?
So, I mean, the really obvious one is difficulty. So if you're having really, really, really bad PMS, or in puberty, really moody, angry, grumpy teenagers, their hormones might be a little bit out of whack. Same with women. If you've got, you know, you're crying and then you're laughing and then you're burying yourself and, you know, with a bag of chips and a bottle of wine. It's, you know, those kind of mood swings. Not talking about me, you know.
I was thinking, I've done that.
Pain, if it's too painful, if it's too awful. Also another stress hormone, adrenaline, if your sleep is being affected, if melatonin's being affected. So it's not all about reproduction. So we're going to see big changes in all areas of health dependent on which part of the endocrine system is not functioning correctly, which hormone is lacking, or there's too much of. So it's a real balancing act.
So what I'm getting from that is, and I think you mentioned it actually before we went on air, or I've imagined it, or I've read it somewhere. So the endocrine system, is it a bit like a circuit?
Well, yeah, it is. Well, it's kind of a circuit, like a drop-down circuit.
Yeah.
It was before the show.
Okay,
so there's all different parts of it. And I think at some point we've got a graphic, and it's going to show you each gland that there is and sort of what that does. And if there's a break in the circuit, which is what we were saying, then that's what we need to find out. And what's it broken by? Is it diet, lifestyle? Is it hereditary, genetic?
Oh, great.
Is it, maybe a medication that you're on that's fixing one pathway and blocking another? So it's a real journey of investigation with hormones. Once you've done the basics, you don't start with the big stuff. You start with the basics and see what happens.
I like it a lot. Now, the last 3 weeks, or in fact the last month, we've actually been discussing the effects of stress and fatigue on our body. And one of the things we did dive into just a little bit was the effects of hormonal imbalances on stress. Can you just talk around that topic a little bit more, just so we can finish off that part of the conversation?
Yeah.
How do your hormones affect or contribute to stress? That's a good one.
Yes. So I think it's more that stress affects our hormones, and then it becomes a negative cycle. So particularly if we have a lot of stress, we use adrenaline often. So that's part of the fight or flight syndrome, where you've got, something's going on and I need to react now. And if that's a continual thing, so cortisol raises and lowers with adrenaline. So you're doing this nice sort of wave action.
Yes.
But if you stay up there with your adrenaline and your cortisol is continuous, you're going to start getting things like your weight gain.
Yep, which I had. Or what about panic attacks?
Panic attacks are often when we start getting a little bit chemically depleted in our brain, because again, our brain is panicking 24/7 instead of once in a while that day. So we're like a little chemist shop, and our brain is constantly going, what's happening? And let me put all these things in. And if you're doing it 24/7 instead of just once in a while today, you're literally running yourself ragged. You're running out of chemicals. You start using other things. You start using more adrenaline, and on it goes. And so then you are not digesting your food so well. You're not detoxifying so well. And most of our hormones are made from the cholesterol in our liver. And if we're not detoxifying that, we're making it from kind of mucky stuff, mucky hormones.
Wow.
That is a very simplistic way of looking at it, but it's just not one thing.
So much. I did not know that. That is absolutely incredible. Feel free while you're watching tonight, if you've got any questions at all, it's lovely to hear from you, and this is an open forum, so you are welcome to ask any questions. And if Lynette can help you with the knowledge she has, or at least go away and research the medical evidence to support your questions, that's what she's here to do. So Zaya Sajid, hello to you, just said, does stress affect female sexual life? A really good question.
Well, yes, it does, and for more than one reason. So again, if we're in that adrenal fatigue, we've got no energy for anything. We might be a bit more grumpy. We might be anxious. So it's going to affect your whole personality. Which if I'm feeling really worn out and grumpy, and
you're not going to be in the mood.
Yeah, no way. I just want to sit down, put my fluffy slippers on, and curl up with a good book. So of course it affects everything, but it does actually at an actual hormonal level as well. One thing about adrenaline is it's one of our androgynous hormones. So that's a male hormone. So you've got too much of the angry man floating around in the feminine woman, and so that can be, it can be a little bit competitive for warm, fluffy behaviour.
I love that. What a beautiful description. Miranda Sophie just mentioned, she's so clever, talking about you. I totally agree, Miranda. And I love the way that Lynette is actually describing this in real people speak, because finally I understand these things. So thank you.
Hooray.
This is really, really good. Now, if you do have any questions, send them on through. We love hearing from you. Okay, so If you are really struggling, and if any of this has resonated with you, there are loads of places you can go to seek help. If you want professional help, you can consider talking to your GP, or you could see somebody like the team at My Remedy. And we've got a quick video to show you. We actually opened the show with that video tonight, and we'll show it to you again if you've just joined the stream. This is about the amazing people at My Remedy in Milford here in Auckland. Now, if you're not based in Auckland, they also do Skype chats with you and Skype consultations. So let's take a look at the team so you can meet them right now.
Have you ever considered that symptoms are often the outward sign of something deeper and can just be the body's way of saying, help me? The great news is that even small changes from the inside out can affect your whole health outcome. So, are you ready to make positive changes? The team at My Remedy work with you to find solutions for optimal health and can help you with many health challenges. Their team of qualified and registered naturopaths are there to help with any health condition: gut health, skin conditions, adrenal fatigue and immune health, cardiovascular and men's health, and nutritional health. At My Remedy, they also have a registered homeopath and hypnotherapist who are there to help with the deepest challenges to your health, your beliefs, your fears, your habits and behaviours. So if you're ready to create better health for you and your family, try a different approach. Visit myremedy.co.nz or give them a call on 09486 2175. My Remedy. It's your remedy.
Well, if you have just joined tonight's stream, I'm Monique Bradley and I'm on the couch with registered naturopath Lynette Hill from My Remedy in Milford. Hi, Lynette.
Hello again.
Hello. I thought I'd welcome you back.
Deja vu.
I know, it's great. We are talking at the moment about our hormones and what they do in our body, what can kind of go wrong, the symptoms you should be looking for if they're not playing nicely in your body, and what you can do about it to make things right. So fatigue, unexplained weight gain, loss of libido, brain fog, all the menopausal symptoms you can think about, and the menopause as well, because we're not ruling out the men. Both genders can be affected by hormonal imbalances that can drive a person crazy. So Lynette, let's talk about this thing you mentioned before. Tonight we're talking about the endocrine system. Endocrine system. So first of all, where do all your hormones come from?
Okay, have we got the...
We've got the graphic coming up. Yeah, we can bring that up. Would you like to have a look at that right now?
I would love to have a look at that.
Okay, perfect. Let's take a look. Okay.
So our hormones come from the endocrine system. So if you look at the graphic there, you can see there's all these glands. So the pineal gland is like it's the master gland. It tells everything what to do. So it's really, really important. And then we've got the pituitary gland. And if you look at that, it makes most of our sort of female hormones that you can see, and it's working on ovaries and kidneys, so that's responsible for maintaining your blood pressure. Working on your uterus or your breast tissue, so that's a really important gland to be working well. Sometimes you can have head injuries that can do some damage in there. You've got your thyroid gland, and of course we know that the thyroid's in the liver, and everyone goes, it has to be working, or we're overweight. But if you look at that, it's really interesting. It works on the liver, so that's why the liver is just showing its little face again, saying it needs to be, taken care of. You've got the adrenal glands, which we know are involved in fight or flight, or our anti-stress reaction. The pancreas has to be healthy. It's working to support our blood sugar levels. And the ovaries and the testes, it's pretty obvious what they do to most of us, but they're responsible for estrogen, progesterone in women, and testosterone. And there are other places that hormones are produced in the body, and they're made from cholesterol. So they're basically, you're going to find hormones in every tissue of our body.
That's such a great image as well, I have to say. It's a really clear idea of what everything does. So I have to ask you a question. If you've got any one of those, because you were mentioning it's a circuit, if you've got any one of those out, they're not working properly, does it kind of throw everything else out of kilter?
Yes, it does, because it's a balancing act. So you've got, if you've got your adrenals pumping, I sort of view the adrenal gland and the thyroid as jealous siblings. So
I love that.
And my cousin's probably laughing. But if you've got the adrenal gland doing everything, oh, don't worry, I'll do everything. I'll do this and I'll do that, and we'll just do everything from adrenaline. The thyroid gets
a bit iffy.
Well, I just won't bother. And a lot of people come and say, oh, you know, I had a test and my thyroid was a bit low, but I haven't got the antibodies, and now it's better. And I just wonder if that was a time of great stress for that person, where it was having a little, you know, miffy holiday on the couch. Yeah.
That is
so
really
it is important
interesting.
to get everything in balance. Yeah.
Okay, really cool question coming from Rebecca Brown. Hi, Rebecca. Lovely to have you on the stream. Rebecca just said, would you think extra hair growth would be due to hormonal imbalance?
I would.
Me
now,
too.
there are some people that have more hair or less hair than others. Hair growth, particularly if it's sort of in the male pattern areas and on a woman, so, you know, around the chin, really, really noticeable on the arms, on the tummy or the back, may be involved in something called polycystic ovary syndrome, may not, but it usually means there's too much of something going on at the ovaries. There might be little cysts there. Cysts are often full of testosterone, and testosterone is a real activator of acne. So there's all these little clues that we look at. So one thing on its own, we might not consider it, but if there were a few things going on and some changes in periods, or just changes in general, you might go off and get your hormones, some blood tests done for that.
Yes, definitely. Look, I would agree from my own experience. In my early 20s, I suffered from an eating disorder and lost a lot of weight. I know, Rebecca, you've been following part of my journey as well. Through that experience, I stopped menstruating for 2 years, and I did notice extra hair growth.
Yeah.
It was, and on my lower back.
Yes.
It was not something I had expected, but that was one of the signs, and I was actually told that was because of the hormonal imbalance going on in my body. So yes, it is possible, but yes, it is fixable as well.
Usually.
Yeah. Thank you.
You know, we've got to be careful because we don't know what the problem is.
That's so true.
And there's a big difference between an imbalance and disease. So if there is a disease, for whatever reason, it may be supported and not fixable.
Gotcha. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. Raja Chetan has just asked, are we live tonight? Yes, we are. Hello to you, Raja. Hope you're well over in Kashmir in India. Such an important topic tonight. We're talking about your hormones. They can drive a person crazy. They can drive a person mad. But let's be honest, we can't live without them. So in a situation where we might be experiencing some of those symptoms we've discussed earlier, which are, you know, fatigue, it could be unexplained weight gain, loss of libido, hair growth, as we've just discussed, or in some instances it can be weight loss as well, right?
Or acne.
Of course, infertility,
headaches.
There's so many symptoms, PMT, menopause, all of those symptoms. You know, when we're in that situation and we know that something's going on, what can we do?
Yeah, give up.
It's so overwhelming.
Don't give up. Don't give up. Again, as I said, make sure you've got the basics right. But at that situation, you know, get along to the doctor if you need to. If you really want to say, hey, do some tests. And if you are getting all the tests back and you're absolutely fine, but you've still got all that stuff going on, get along to a naturopath, because we're more interested in looking at, well, okay, you don't have disease, that's awesome, but you have all these symptoms, and you know, it might be as simple as some magnesium to help you sleep a bit better or to support the liver. It might be some herbs. It could be something that you are eating every day that's really inflammatory, that's, you know, making, you know, fanning those hormones.
Yes.
So, you know, again, I do say, you know, there's some fantastic naturopaths all around New Zealand and medical herbalists, and that's what they do.
Great. I'm just going to open up the group as well, because I know that we've had a bunch of people on the group tonight asking questions and saying hello. Hello to everybody watching there. Now, if you do have any questions, feel free to send them on in. Jane Wands just said, if you have problems with hormones, women take New Women 30 Plus. They're amazing. They really work and you feel great.
And that's good. So that's a lovely over-the-counter women's nutritional supplement. I will not be able to comment on any particular brand because I just can't do it. I don't even talk about what I use in clinic. But they're quite a nice place to start. Just some made for women or made for men nutritional supplements. And, if that's what you require, you're going to feel better and you're done. That was all you needed, was a little bit of support. So that's good that you found something.
That's awesome too. And some people I know that I've spoken to have actually just changed things in their diet to ensure they're getting the right nutritional support from the food that they eat. And that's made a real difference. Lynette's just poured us some tea. Tonight we're drinking this tea, not sponsored by the way. I have this in my cupboard. So this is the Artemis, I'll make sure you can see it properly, the Artemis PMT tea, I think it is. PMTE's tea. I got this actually at an event and I was trying it, drinking it, thinking, oh, this tastes nice. So I have it in the cupboard because it tastes nice. And it also helps you if you do have a little bit of those symptoms of PMT, bloating, bitchiness, let's be honest.
Oh, we're going to be much nicer now.
We're going to be much nicer. I'm going to try it. Thank you very much. Very tasty.
And, I'm not suffering from PMT, but I still have got all of those hormones raging around my body. So some of these teas that you can buy, there's PMT teas, there's hot flush tea, which is one I particularly love.
Oh, right. Wow.
There's all sorts of teas, and they're a really nice place to start as well, because they're not a hard and fast supplement that you have to take every day, but they're more for relief.
Awesome. Excellent. So Raj has just messaged in and said, good afternoon, ladies. Just a question. For men, testosterone are like assets. So herbs like tribulus boost the testosterone level naturally. But does that affect this with the same magnitude if you are in a state of stress? Wow, good question.
Such a good comment. Stress is going to dull it down definitely, and you need to be a wee bit cautious with something like tribulus. It's a beautiful, fabulous herb that all men should know about. So if you are taking tribulus in a time of stress and you're not feeling as good as you should from it, then don't take more tribulus. Work on your stress and bring that down. That would be my strong advice for you.
Yes, and Miranda Sophie has also said let food be thy medicine.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm just being given the 30-minute call. Pete, do we have time to put the ladder in to show people how the health ladder works? Okay. So I've just been given the thumbs up from Pete, who's behind the camera tonight. Now, there's a concept that Lynette often talks about, and it's the health ladder concept. So chances are, if you're feeling a little bit less than fabulous, you might have a wobbly ladder. Now, to explain that, we've got a quick video which will show you around that concept, and then we'll sum up with how the health ladder can be made solid and stable. Let's take a look at the video right now.
The Health Bites Health Ladder. Usually the goal of being on a ladder is to be at the top, but our ladder is different. It's much more comfortable, safe, and easier to remain with your feet planted safely on the ground. So we need to make sure everything at ground level is optimal. That's why, with a holistic model, getting your diet and lifestyle choices right are our foundation. Feet on the ground, being well through diet and lifestyle. Here are the basics: real food, proper nutrition, a healthy weight, good clean water, nutritional supplementation, condensed nutrients, if needed, particularly for children, teenagers, athletes, elderly, exercise, fun and friendship, great sleep, well-managed stress. You might need some initial help to achieve this level of health, but once you're there, it's worth it, and it's easier to stay healthy than live with disease. First step of the ladder, self-help. You might be starting to notice symptoms such as bloating, headaches, skin changes, signs of stress, sleep, energy, or hormonal changes. You may start researching your options, online as well as in store. You might visit your health store for some condensed nutrients, vitamins, probiotics, or superfoods. It might be time for some relaxing massage or Reiki therapy to help with relaxation and stress reduction. Second step, noticing changes in symptoms. It's time to ask for help from someone who knows how to help get you back on track. You could visit a life or health coach. A clinical hypnotherapist may help with sleep or harmful habits. Maybe your stress is coming from your work or finances. Career coach, financial advisor. So, what if you've given it a go? You've been to the store, the internet, you've tried some basics, vitamins, dietary changes, etc., but there's not enough change. Your symptoms remain. This means they're chronic. Third step, living with symptoms. It's time for therapeutic support. Time to see the health experts who are trained to make therapeutic changes to help you make positive changes. and those who can refer you for specific medical care should it be needed. Maybe a naturopath to guide and support a return to better health. A physical therapist like a chiropractor or osteopath to help with pain or better function. A counselor to give you tools in your kit to deal with your stress in a healthy and positive way. The list goes on. Light bulb moment. Maybe this is a good place to start. Registered naturopath or medical herbalist. Registered homeopath, chiropractor or osteopath, Ayurvedic or Chinese medicine practitioner, nutritionist, counselor or psychotherapist. By working with an expert at this level, there is every opportunity that you can return to optimal health and wellness with your feet planted firmly on the ground, safe and healthy. Fourth step, diagnose disease. Follow the advice of your healthcare professional and wellness support team. Up here is where you don't want to be, at the top, feeling very wobbly and clinging on tightly. It's the toughest place to be on the ladder. You need medical intervention, medical specialist, emergency medical treatment. If you are here, you already have a medical diagnosis that may require medication or even surgery. You need to follow all medical advice now. We want you through natural medicine to avoid getting to this stage, support you while you're there, and support you to feel better despite your condition. So if you want to stay planted on the ground in good health or make your way down the ladder, why not consider seeing a natural medicine practitioner?
Well, if you've just joined us, I'm Monique Bradley. This is Lynette Hill, a registered naturopath from My Remedy. Welcome to the Health Bites show. We're glad to have you with us. Okay, Lynette, speak into that, my lovely friend.
Okay, so the ladder, we'll apply it to hormones this time instead of gut health or stress or whatever it was. So if where we want to be is feet firmly planted on the ground. So, to do that for your hormones, you're looking at, healthy stress levels for a start.
Yes.
Diet and lifestyle, so plenty of good, green, real foods that are really going to, and bitters that are going to support your liver. Fresh water, not too many of the bad fats, lots of the good fats. So that's pretty much how you keep your feet on the ground. And I think as soon as you start going up the ladder with hormones, that's the best time. The moment that you go, these periods are painful, or, my son's skin is really, he's moody and look at his skin, or, my husband seems really moody and his sleep's changing. These are changes in hormones, no matter what it's acting on. That's when I would go and say, hey, the expert in this level is probably a naturopath, a herbalist, a chiropractor. If it's your nervous system is just totally jangled, then they can turn the volume down on your nervous system. I love that description.
Yeah. It's so good.
And it happens to a lot of us.
Yeah.
It's part of my care regime. So sometimes we need to go and see those specialists just to say, hey, you know what, I could possibly work it out myself over the next 15 years, but can you please help me now? And of course, if there's something serious going on, if you've got lumps or bumps or bleeding or things not working at all, you need to see a medical professional. You need to get in there and see your doctor and get the tests done so that you're not wobbling around at the top of the ladder.
So that's when you're looking at the big guns. You're looking at things like infertility problems. You're looking at, long-term chronic fatigue or brain fog that just doesn't shift.
It's not shifting with the basics getting done. There's still a problem. You're not getting periods. There's just something more going on. There might be pain, or there might be changes that are significant.
So in that instance, you'd go to a doctor, they'd say, here you go, you've got this, they'll give you some medication.
Possibly, or they may say, hey, look, we can't find anything, which is great as well. It means, okay, you haven't gone to disease, but we've made sure of that. Now we can get to our naturopath who can actually, do some different types of testing, which are more at looking not about that you've got disease that we need to fix, but how do we get this body working better?
More optimally? That's a big word. That's a big word.
Optimally.
So a question then, if they can't test you that way, how does a naturopath test you?
So in our clinic, we do use HemoView, and that's just for a quick, so first of all, we always have a good consultation. So your history tells us the most. There's a timeline there. When did it start changing? What are you eating? All of that sort of stuff. So we know what we're looking for. We can also organise blood tests as well. So if you haven't gone to your doctor, you often will be going to lab tests for blood results. HemoView, which is live blood observation, I'll be looking at things like, is there liver stress, what's going on with the gut, how many fats are floating around compared to what you eat. And also in our clinic, we have access to, you know, specific testing like the Dutch test, which I've talked to you about,
Yes.
which looks at your urine over like 24 hours. So it's looking at your metabolites. So what is left in your urine gives us a good idea of what hormones were floating around there all day.
Really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that's what it did.
Yeah.
I've heard the term.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that's how they can diagnose
Yeah.
stuff.
So we're looking for, is there too much estrogenic waste or too little? Or what about testosterone or melatonin or all of those basic hormones that give us so much information about where the circuit's broken, what are the herbs that we might put in, what might we take out, you know, it gives us really good information about what we can do to turn them back and get you climbing back down to the ground.
That is mind-blowing. I've just learned so much tonight. That's incredible. Keep those questions coming in, by the way, because we love hearing from you, and it's good to have you on all of the pages that we're watching on and in the group tonight as well. Now, one of the places you can go to seek help, aside from My Remedy in Milford, is, of course, the wonderful people at South Pacific College of Natural Medicine. Now, for those of you who may have a bit of a tight budget, perhaps, and you need some support, or you may be out in the community, out near South Pacific College of Natural Medicine, and you want to perhaps see one of their trainee naturopaths, you can do that by heading to the Power Clinic, which is where all the new naturopaths do their hands-on training. Now, they're fully supervised as well by people like Lynette, who is one of the clinic supervisors. And we've got a quick video to show you which tells you about Power Clinic and the services they can offer for you. Let's take a look now.
Welcome to Power Clinic. I'm Robin Carruthers, the Clinic Director. The Power Clinic is a student clinic at the South Pacific College of Natural Medicine. We've got two main functions here. One is to give our students a really good educational experience. They're the ones who staff the clinic, and they are supervised by experienced practitioners, naturopaths and medical herbalists. Our other role, which is more important, is to provide the community with affordable natural health care. So we have free visits for under 6-year-old children and for people over 65, and our other adult normal fees are heavily subsidised. We see a whole range of people here at Power Clinic, people who've got just minor health complaints, who want to look at a wellness plan, right through to people who are on a range of medications and have quite serious health conditions. A lot of people think with natural health care that if you're taking medications, you can't go to a naturopath. But in fact, we're very careful to take that into account and to work around it and support people while they are taking medications that they need to take. So if this sounds like it might be of interest to you, please give us a call and we'll look forward to seeing you and to helping you on your health journey.
Well, it's been an interesting night, a big discussion about your hormones. So just summing up, it's all about the endocrine system, right?
That's right.
Okay, so finally, what does it do? Everything.
Everything. Everything. Yeah.
Symptoms, brain fog, infertility, bloating?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yes, definitely. Actually.
Poos and wheeze?
Less so.
Okay, perfect. Boobs, sore boobs.
Yes.
Puberty, of course, for kids.
Man boobs.
Man boobs. A good one. Menopause symptoms, PMT.
Sleep problems. Stress.
There's a huge amount of symptoms that most of us just wipe away as being normal. Well, chances are if it's starting to affect your life and the quality of the way you're living, it may not be normal, and it's worth seeking help from a health professional. So do get in touch with either the team at Power Clinic or the team at My Remedy, because they're there to help and share their knowledge and expertise on your situation and help you find your way back to an optimal lifestyle. So finally, any last message for everybody with regards to their hormones this week? What should they take away from tonight's show?
Well, I think what you take away is that you've got hormones. And there's nothing you can do about that. So if you have any issues with them, look at yourself, look at your diet and lifestyle, and if you don't think you can do it by yourself, go and seek professional help.
Such a good point. I love it, Lynette. Now, next week, we are talking, I've got it written down so I get it right, we're talking about what happens when hormones go bad. This is a big topic. And how to tweak your nutrition to help your hormones be a little bit happier. So it's a big topic. Make sure to join us every Monday at 7 p.m. Now, I do have to say a big thank you to everybody who watches, whether you're watching on the South Pacific College of Natural Medicine page, Lynette Hill from My Remedies page, the My Remedy page, or YourFixTV. A big thanks to South Pacific College because they support this show and we love you guys. You do great work in the community. And also too, if you want to get in touch, you can visit the website of My Remedy or the Power Clinic. Contact details coming up on the screen there. Get in touch and start your journey to wellness. And remember, you can do consultations over Skype with the team at My Remedy as well. Find what works for you. Now, thanks for being part of the show. We love you being with us. Do keep sending in your questions. What do you want to see? Let us know. Share the show with your friends and family because chances are they might be sitting in discomfort or even a state of dis-ease and they need to know more about their health. And make sure you visit our partners as well. Lynette, it's been a fabulous chat tonight. Thank you.
It has. It's been a great show and thank you everybody for joining us.
We look forward to seeing you again next Monday night at 7 p.m. Keep watching. We love having you with us. Thanks to Pete, who is our producer and who's behind the camera tonight making things happen. Keep watching. And remember, you can watch the show on repeat as well. So if there's anything you missed, if you came in halfway through, head back to the beginning because we've got some great information for you to watch. See you next week. Take care. Be careful out there.